This is Bruno Sammartino, and you're listening on InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, and we're back here at In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm the internet icon, the pride of the pilgrims, the most honest man in podcasting, handsome Jackie Jones, left my right-hand man, my audio soulmate, and the enforcer of the Headyverse.
1 inch biceps, the power goat. Ah, how about that, huh?
Pretty good, pretty good. And joining us here,
When I walk through a jam.
Oh! Welcome, Headyverse, perverts, pigs, keyboard warriors. I love you all. The Spartan swingers jacked, ready to attack. First official time I am on this program since 2008. It's going to be great. Lot to talk about, lots to say, all things we will speak of in this wonderful show that's been going strong in your head. Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Good to have you back. I can't believe it's been a decade.
Decade, broski. Well, we'll see in the questions, people asking about those fevers, where I'll admit to being a little not on the up and up. I did some of those. I co-hosted on my birthday. I co-hosted another episode with when Barbie wasn't around, which I guess he is no longer around, you said. So I filled in for him a couple times, but my first official appearance was in the spring of 2008. I just got back in the ring wrestling with the real deal Kenny Thiessen, the man who's been in Pumping Iron 2. He played the Toxic Avenger and did a lot of stuff. And I was down in Florida wrestling. And then I remember I came on your show. And I even have the great Mauro Ranallo had interviewed me. And I talked to Mauro, and he wasn't the nicest guy, but that's okay.
Really? When did that happen? Was that back then or recently?
That was 2009 for the Fight Network. It was after I did you guys, and I could actually play it later. He just wasn't the friendliest guy, and he made a couple digs at me after the interview. Of course, he didn't do it on the air, but after the interview, he goes, "Oh, Brian Danovich, we just had him. Oh, what the fuck was that?" He pretty much interviewed himself, and it's like, well, dude, you just sitting there, you didn't ask me any noteworthy questions. And doing this show, one of the reasons is, I don't know if you guys can tell, I finally just got on Facebook. I have been living life without Facebook quite happily. Now I'm on it. You invited me, gave me a friend request, I accepted right away, but then you invited me into these groups, and I gotta tell you, it literally makes my day. I even had some fun today. Facebook, I got on it because I run a business from home selling wrestling memorabilia. So anybody interested, PM me. Carlo Ochi's collectibles, action figures, shirts, magazines, autographs, everything. But anyway, so I go ahead and I get on the Facebook file. It's so cool how I can connect with fans from all over the world, not the country, the world. I got people in France. This guy and his family in France told me he's my #1 French fan. I even have a homosexual gentleman who told me, and this is perfect for the Headyverse perverts, he told me that upon seeing my pictures, he masturbated himself to me several times to completion.
Oh, that's very good. You
don't get that. Yeah, you don't get that every day. I mean, someone says hello. What's that?
I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me that. So.
Really?
Well, John, excuse me, don't want to break kayfabe into you. You're a handsome man, so I'm sure you will one day. That's what you could strive for. When a homosexual man messages you with a heart over your picture and tells you he loves you, told me he loved me, and that he has masturbated to you to completion, and that he wants you to be his daddy, that was message 2, then you've made it, Incher and Jack.
Like a guy, I had, a fan of mine would like to have me choke him between my thighs and a leg scissors while they're dressed up as a French fry.
Jesus. and wearing the Yay costume too, I assume.
He did not mention the Eddie costume, but
you like how I made a little booking idea with that? We could go over the town. You go ahead. But I thought it was a rabbit, Neil. Jack. I thought it was what do we call you, Neil? I usually call you Jonesy. Jacking off anymore? What is the name now?
It hasn't been jacking off for quite a while. But anything's fine. Jack, Neil, Jonesy's good.
I like Jonesy.
Yeah,
you know where I get Jonesy from? Sting used to call Jim Ross Rossi, so I say Jonesy.
Yeah, I mean, my email address, my regular one, is njonesy1. So yeah, I mean, I've been called that since I was a little kid. That and Neely Worm used to call
Neely Worm.
Or the Worm.
Okay. Well, you've done very well for yourself. I'm proud of you, brother. I see you have the Without Your Head franchise, where you get top leading ladies, leading men, these movies, everything. You go to conventions and interact with the people. I'm really happy that you've had this success, Jonesy.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun here. And Andrew came to me with he was at a convention here not that long ago in Kentucky.
Yep, I showed up and we had a good time. He tried to get me in the hot tub, and I refused to get in the hot tub, Danovich. Was I wrong to refuse?
No, that's actually one of the questions we'll get to. Someone asked me if I would get in a public hot tub with Jonesy, and I didn't. I was respond later in the questions. I don't think you were wrong. I mean, did he have a shirt on? Was he completely naked, as Dusty Rhodes would say?
It was a poolside hot tub in a hotel, so it wasn't like
right.
And it was, I had my shirt on. That was one of the reasons he wouldn't do it, because I had my shirt on. He was like, I gotta rip that shirt off of you if I'm gonna get in the hot tub.
That is not what it was. I was like, if you're gonna get in the hot tub, then you can't go in there with a shirt on. You gotta take the shirt off.
Then it's just weird. You're like, you want to get in topless with me.
Oh, he wanted a Hulkster, rip it off you like the Hulkster.
I tell you what's weird is that I was like, well, I don't have any trunks to get in the hot tub with, and they're like, no, we brought some for you.
I did.
Now that's bizarre.
Well, I did, but Jason, a friend of ours, he brought a pair for injury because he didn't think he would bring a pair.
Hey, that's like in the old days in the locker room. I never not had my gear. I always had my gear bag. But if someone forgot their boots or their trunks or their gear, someone had an extra pair for them. So I guess it's nothing too off the cuff.
Yeah.
A little different. Yeah, what do you guys do in the hot tub? Just lay and soak like a turkey?
Yeah, there was 4 of us, and it was when we had some alcohol, which Incher doesn't partake in.
All right, don't take this the wrong way. Any girls in there?
Yeah, there was 3 guys and 1 girl. Yeah.
There was
3 guys and 1 girl. Woo, she had a rough night, but I'm pumped. I'm playing.
And then a bunch of police came and joined the hot tub. Then we.
The police came in the hot tub with their uniforms on?
No, at the time we were in the hotel, there was also like
was this real police?
Yeah, no, it was the police.
Did they come in with a siren going on, and they're like,
it's hot
in the hot tub.
They had some kind of like a party for the weekend, and it was they were off duty, but it was a bunch of police in the hotel. Yeah,
so they came in the tub with you?
Yeah. Then we left.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. If they enjoyed a little libation, little spirits. The Spartan Swinger, Brian Carlucci, now Danovich too, is my name. I've been known to enjoy some libations, which has got me into trouble. I've gone on record, and I will here. You're not technically getting a scoop, but I'll go more into it. WWE has sent me, like Jeff Jarrett, like so many others, sent me to WWE-sponsored rehab and taking care of me. Not once, but twice, guys. I was having some rough times. I'll admit it here. I don't want a pity party because I got a lot of good to talk about, but, I was going through some rough times. I wound up getting cancer, squamous cell carcinoma, that I had to have a surgery where the doctor puts you on this cold steel table. You're there by yourself. Nobody holding your hand, not like I needed it. And he goes in and out of the room and lasers off your skin and takes slides and goes in and out of the room and lances all the dead cancer cells, so that, you're cancer-free. And I just had a rough go of it, and then I had some other personal problems. And I'm going to apologize, actually, because those Friday night fevers, someone asked my memories of them. Well, I don't have many memories because I was a little fizz-up during those on anxiety medicine called Xanax and painkillers. I wasn't really drinking then. The drinking didn't come till the 2013, 14, and then that's when I had to go away. And let me tell you something. Anybody can say what they want about World Wrestling Entertainment, talk negatively about them. Triple H, I've said it before, Paul Levesque is the guy who signed off on my rehab, and when he signed off on my rehab, he said, maybe we could still get something out of this kid. He's in his early 30s. Let's get him healthy and see what happens. And I was in talks with Bob Keelar, Mark Carano, not name dropping, just so you know the story. They pretty much want progress reports on how I'm doing and working the indies and stuff. And look, this isn't me saying like I'm so special or anything, but the lack of talent out there of guys that have a look, can work and talk is just not there. So I think I could get one more run maybe at 35. I'll be alive and do the best I can. But a big thank you to Paul Levesque, Mark Carano, Bob Keelar for all sending me to Long Island Center for Recovery and caring about my well-being. They just don't get enough publicity for good stuff. When someone dies or something happens, oh, fuck Vince, fuck WWE. As we're talking right now, Bob Keelar is putting somebody else in rehab and making sure that their nightmare ends. And I can say on record, he's admitted it. While I was going in, the Nature Boy Ric Flair was going in. And he's talked about it publicly. And he was going in and having some difficulty after Reed passed. And it's good to see he's doing better and he's healthy. And WWE needs a big thumbs up for that.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing they do, and I'm glad that you took advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. If I sneeze, blow my nose, my throat would cough, I'm a little under the weather, but being the guy tough enough who didn't quit, I wasn't going to cancel. Jonesy, this was our fourth time trying to get together over the summer.
Yeah, we had it booked once. I even had it up on the website, and I couldn't get a hold of you at the time, and then, I don't know, something happened.
Well, first, your poor uncle, who I sent you a beautiful note, sending my condolences through Messenger, your uncle had fallen. I said, please, the podcast will do whenever. Then you were sick, and then the week later, I was sick and in the hospital with 103 fever. And not feeling well. So now we're doing it. Let's see if we can break my record from last time where I think I went, I don't know if I do got a lot to talk about, but we'll see. Guys, what's on here? I got a good story to tell about rehab, actually, getting involved with my ex-fiance. I met her. She was my counselor. She was my counselor there, and it wasn't even about being starstruck or, oh, this guy's a wrestler. We wound up getting involved after rehab the first time, and then I went back, and we snuck around as her fiance, who she proposed to me. And it was so cool to be in rehab and sneaking around and sneaking kisses and grabbing her ass and doing funny things and her grabbing my privates and telling me, get in this office now. I've been hearing things about you. And then she closes the door. Oh, baby, I missed you so much. So, Sarah, I know you're listening to this. You threatened my life and said you would shoot me in the face and have the blood spill out on my mom if I mentioned your last name. And I'm not mentioning your last name, but there you go. There's your plug, Sarah. You want to shoot your ex-fiance who you proposed to, and he gave you thousands of orgasms and all the stuff I did for you. Oh, forget it. Jonesy, I get a little upset, Jonesy.
So when was the rehab? When was the last time you were in rehab?
Yes, the first one was in 2013, where I did not complete. I had a bottle of Oxycontin and Xanax in an Undertaker. This is kind of funny. It goes into my business. In an Undertaker action figure case hidden, so where nobody would know it was there. And when I went in, that's all I could think about. As you know, when you go through the DT, like the withdrawals, yeah, they give you methadone or Suboxone, which are medicines to help you come off. But brothers, it is hard, man. Your bones hurt, your body hurts, everything, because all the toxins are coming out of you. And Brian Danovich was not tough enough for that one. I could not complete, and I wound up leaving after 8 days. WWE was furious, by the way, and they just were like, "You're going to completely destroy any possibility of working for the company again." Blah blah blah. So then I wound up calling them again. I believe it was 2000. It was before I did Brian Zane's Wrestling with Wregret, which we'll talk about too. But I was completely on the up and up for that. It was 2015, maybe the end of 2015. That one I completed. And I had to be sent to the hospital twice because my blood pressure, which is normal for a chronic pain patient, when you're hurt, your blood pressure goes up. And my blood pressure was 210 over 100 and something. They rushed me to the hospital to make sure, because stroke runs in my family. My father had a stroke 4 years of the age I am now at 39. And at the time, I guess I was in my 33. I don't even remember. But anyway, so... yeah, this is the last one I completed, and I can honestly say I've been off all Xanax, Valium, Somas, which, you know, have killed a lot of people in our business, from Louis Spicoli and a few others. I think Art Barr, too. Don't quote me, but yeah, so I've been off all those, and the majority, the painkillers, the heavy ones that, you know, I've been off those. The only ones I've been prescribed, I'm an open book. I let the people know, are the long-acting medications that really, it's not about getting a high or a buzz. When you have legitimate pain, I've had 7 surgeries just on my left side, the shoulder, which is honestly the worst because that's the side we work. And, you know, I try to make the best of it, but on really bad days with the arthritis, the rain, the sleet, everything, it hurts, guys. So to answer your question, yeah, the last time was 2015, the end of it. And I've had some struggles since, a lot of deaths in the family. God bless my cousin, Sergeant Jason Santoro, who passed away in, you know, Afghanistan or Iraq, and it was horrible for my family. Then his grandmother, my great uncle, and his grandmother both died after that. Then his uncle, who practically was raising him, he died too. So my family's been through a lot, and I put a nice post on Facebook apologizing to my parents. I took them out to dinner for their anniversary. After the past few years, I haven't been the best son, best brother, best uncle. And guys, I'm sorry. I haven't been the happiest. The depression, the anxiety's been crippling, and I'm sorry if I've let it, you know, ruin our relationship. So, yeah, Jonesy, I did it, and I'm trying to do, they say one day at a time, and that's what it is, brother.
Mm-hmm. So it was all prescription stuff. And
yeah, oh yeah, I never did any street stuff, or, you know, years ago, I snorted cocaine once, and I hated it. It burned my nose. The big thing is heroin now here in Long Island, and I'm sure there too in Massachusetts.
Too, yeah, I think it's
big, right?
Too. Yeah, yeah. There was a documentary about it not long ago here on the Cape.
Yeah,
I saw that actually on YouTube, and there was a big trafficking ring in that documentary they talked about, right, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, my cousin went to jail for heroin.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is he okay now, or is he out? Is he?
He's out. I don't talk to him, so I don't know how he's doing. But.
Well, I'm talking and discussing this right now because of the way the epidemic is in this country. There are listeners right now listening to this that have taken some sort of an opiate, whether it's addiction or they've had a surgery or something and they're prescribed something. And it's getting out of hand for them. And maybe if they hear Brian Danovich, the toughest man in history of Tough Enough, WWE, that never quit and went and did that, and they hear that, look, this guy's admitting that I could do Tough Enough with one arm, and I could wrestle hurt, and with bronchitis and stuff like I have, and pneumonia. But this kicked my ass. This had me in the freaking tap out position and pins me at the same time. And it's still something I struggle with because, look, I go to a pain management doctor for injections. There's laws here in New York where they can only prescribe certain medications without getting in trouble, which in turn has sent everybody out on the street to get heroin. One of my brothers and close friends deals with it every day, and he's a really good friend of mine in the bodybuilding community. I have other friends who will remain nameless that are really close that deal with it. And anybody out there, look, just because you don't have WWE to send you to sponsored rehab, maybe through any type of insurance you have or any type of programs online you could research, I suggest trying to get the help you need before it ruins your life and ruins your family life and destroys everything that you ever worked for. And anybody out there dealing with this, you have my love and support. If you ever want to contact me and talk about it, you can get a hold of me on Messenger now that I have social media on Facebook, and I'll be glad to help you in any way I can. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, I know. I was in physical rehab 2 years ago. You probably don't know. I got really sick. I almost died. I saw something. You met a guy that got soup and batteries. Go ahead. Right, exactly. That was my roommate in there. But so at first I had emergency surgery to remove part of my colon. It was dying, and so I was in ICU and I was on a drip. So it was morphine. Yeah, and then so then from there I was after a while I started to take OxyContin and anti-inflammatories, and I would take them when I needed them. Right. But after a while, I was aware that people get hooked on them. So, but when I stopped taking them, like they were, especially when I was in rehab, in the physical rehab, they would like really push them on me. I'd be like, I don't need them, and they'd like get mad. They'd be like, you don't have to be Superman. They just like would really and I just wouldn't take them. But I think it was a lot of it it's easier to deal with people if they're just doped up. Yeah. But I could see how easy it would be because not only do they work, but they're really pushing. There was times I needed them because I'd be in a lot of pain. But after a while, when I wasn't in pain, I mean, there's no reason to take them. But they just would force them on you.
Wow, Jonesy, are you okay now?
Yeah, I'm good now. I have a lot of scars, but I'm doing good.
Dude, chicks dig scars. That's not a problem. People ask me if I have any tattoos. I say no, I don't have any tattoos. My scars are my tattoos that tell stories of their own. Yeah,
that was part of the reason, I didn't take off the shirt at the hot tub because I have a giant scar down my belly and then a big scar here on the right where they didn't close the wound. They left it,
Well, it's like he says, chicks dig scars.
Well, I wasn't trying to turn you on. I mean,
well, there was one girl there. I mean,
yeah, but her boyfriend was there. But I had 72 staples, which was quite a few.
Doesn't matter.
Jeez,
you could steal her away.
72 staples, brother. That's like Abdul the Butcher territory.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think
can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. I think we have a caller here on the line. Damien, are you calling in to talk to Danovich?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hi, Damien. Here we go again. The same thing happened last time.
Now, I'm going to ask you, as far as it goes, are you looking at getting back to WWE?
Can't hear you, brother.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can, Damien. Go for it, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, I'm just now tuned into the show. Are you looking into possibly getting back to like NXT?
Yeah, dude. You keep cutting out, Damien. Can you call back on a better phone or something?
He's the one to know about NXT or anything like that.
WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I've already been in contact with 3 promoters in coming to do stuff here East Coast, and I'm looking to possibly be on Grimm's Toy Show which I probably shouldn't have just said, but I'm working with Daltino Charles, a.k.a. It's Dalton, who's the current GTS Intercontinental Champion. He's my protege. I have another protege I won't mention who I help out because we're going to work that into an angle. But, yeah, he's spoken to Grim about me coming in. It's a little far. And the reason I obviously want to do all this stuff is because it's all footage for WWE to see me healthy, in shape, able to work, able to do everything. And I think once I make this loop on the indies and do stuff, I can get that one run that I've been dying to have for over a decade since I got released by WWE. And thank you very much for your question and your support, Damien.
All right, thank you. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great show.
Thanks,
you too,
Damien.
Oh, you have a good night, Damien.
We have a good
I'm
time
very
listening.
polite. Very polite. Anybody takes the time to ask a question. You know, guys, it's awesome. Thanks to Brian Zane's Wrestling with Wregret and the social media, the internet, just you can go up, find Brian Danovich, anything that I do, everything I've done. And it's so cool to be just regular Brian in a ball cap and a T-shirt, and people stop asking for selfies and then putting it on Twitter. There's a guy, Jemmy, that I met at a comic store months ago, and he was like a little boy, like shaking to take the picture. And it's like so rewarding. And I was so against social media and so against, interacting with anyone because I just didn't want to be bothered. But it's kind of cool when you get the support of the fans out there. And I love you all, and I really appreciate it.
Cool. Intro, get a question from the chat room or from Facebook.
Yeah, I got one from Facebook. Jason Mitten. He wants to know which one is better, the mesh cage or the big blue cage? The big, beautiful blue cage.
And they had a black one, too, at Valentine's Day Massacre. Remember that one?
The black one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was only a few...
Intro really loves the BBC, the big black cage.
Right. Well, okay. Jason, I really saw your question this morning, and I thought about it. I have only been in the mesh cage. I've had, I believe, 1 or 2 cage matches. I know I had started wrestling again after you talked to you guys. I did a loop of the Carolinas for a promoter named Rick Diesel, great guy. Always accommodated me, and I needed to go on first a couple times for shows so that I could get back on the road to New York, and he did that for me. I did a cage match on like this promotion that wasn't one of the best promotions. It was like more of a ICP type promotion, and I wrestled a guy named, let me get this name right, Killer Freak Scary Clown, I believe his name was. That was in like a mesh UFC style cage where you take the head and you take it like a lettuce and you run on that. I've never been in a blue cage or the big, bars. Now, the reason why they made those that a lot of people don't know is it was easier to film for TV in between the cage, and also for Hulk and big guys like Bundy and Orndorff to go ahead and climb the cage. It made it easier for their ankles and feet to support their body weight and climb over the top. Like Hulk was in a lot of those cages. There's even one a lot of people don't know against him and Andre, a WrestleFest tape that I have that's on YouTube now. That's a pretty good cage match. He takes Andre, he steps on the cage, rams Andre's head into the cage. Good spot. So to answer your question, I personally would love to be in the blue cage ever in my career, but the only one I ever did was the mesh one, and I guess it could be pretty dangerous, man, if the chain link is not cut and you got those points like barbed wire stabbing you. So there you go. Thank you, Jason, for the question.
Good man, Jason. Good man. I like that guy. So when you said you did a tour of the Carolinas, how long did that last? You going back to wrestling? And when's the last time?
That was in 2000. The last time I actually worked was before I went to rehab in 2013. And I actually, it kind of was disheartening because I went out, the first match I wrestled, I think I have it all in my book. The guy's name was JT Millicaz. It was more so an enhancement match. The kid was like one of his third matches ever, and he was so nervous. I'm like, I don't know why I'm talking, I guess you can't close the barn door. Kayfabe's dead. But anyway, I did a tour for a couple weeks there, and then I did South Carolina in 2011 on shows there. See, my family's in the Carolinas, so whenever I'd go down there, I would always want to get booked because they never got to see me wrestle. And I did cool things, like my niece had a little hat, and I wore her hat to the ring, you know, for my gimmick. But see, when I say disheartening, I went out and cut a promo about Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and the Briscoes and Roddy Piper and Don Morocco and Bob Orton and Harley Race and Ric Flair and all this. And the people, like, it was like I was speaking foreign to them. I'm sure if I said, yeah, and John Cena and Roman Reigns, and they all would have popped. But it was like they didn't know the history of where they lived. And I thought that was, like, a little sad. But the one show, I see there's a question if my Dizzik and Bizols came out. One show I had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction that, I don't know, I guess it really wasn't. It was just like, you know, my singlet had, you know, you couldn't even see anything. My undergear was there. But it was fun, man. Like, seriously, like, some of these old, like, indie promotions in the Midwest that I used to do, and also in the Carolinas and stuff, and even in Florida, have a little bit of that old school feel, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I know we always had a good time when we go to the Fan Fest and see the wrestling in the Carolinas. And some of those guys...
I heard that Greg Price thing is closing down.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be honest, he turned out to be a shyster, but I did enjoy it.
I heard stories. What happened with him, Neilio?
Well, I mean, Andrew and I both would see, like, throughout the years he'd have falling out with other people and stuff. But with me personally, he blocked me on Facebook one day, and I emailed him why, and he said it was, he said basically, he just straight out said that I was a devil worshiper, and that he didn't like how I pushed my devil worshipping on people. It was just,
wait a minute, is this going all the way?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Is this going back to when I was there? I was there for this. With the Superstar Billy Graham post and all that?
Oh, it was even more after that. But yeah, he's always had this thing about devil worship.
Dude, I remember this.
It was Halloween, and my friend Annabelle and I, we had like I dressed like as a priest, and she was like, anyway, it was like a priest with upside down cross and stuff. And but it was Halloween, and he just thought we were devil worshippers, and then so he owes me like $200 or $300, and he never pay up, and he's really
he owes you $300 for what?
Yeah, because so the one year I had bought me, Troy, and Inchman tickets for the Fan Fest,
right?
And then he canceled the Fan Fest and said that it would be the year after.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, can we use the tickets? And he's like, yeah. So the year came by. I went, Troy and Incher didn't go. And then like he canceled it again. So I was just like, well, can I get the money back for the other two? Because now it's been like 2 or 3 years. And
right.
he just stopped replying to me. And
wow.
then I brought it up again recently, like last year, and he started going crazy.
Going crazy? He's the one who owes you money. What the hell in the blue moon does he have to go to crazy about?
I have no idea. It's real. It's I mean, I saw before, like, I remember he had a falling out with George South, who was like this really nice guy. Then he started questioning his Christianity, and I remember he had a falling out with Baby Doll. Then he started calling Baby Doll's daughter a whore, and he's just a real shit.
Nicola Jr., she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a wrestler now. Yeah,
I know.
He's just a real shitty guy, honestly.
Greg Price, Neil's coming for you, nigga. As you would say. I said an M there, people. Don't get aroused.
Plus, like, he was raising money for years to build the Hall of Heroes, which is like his Hall of Fame. And he's going to build an actual building for it. And guys like Mr. Wrestling 2 donated their robes. He donated robes anymore. I mean, that's like a priceless thing, worth a lot of money anyway.
Yeah.
And so they donated stuff, and they had silent auctions. And then he never built it. And so
so what is he doing? He's wearing it when he comes out of the shower?
He sold it and kept the money.
You can't do that. Tim Woods should get the money.
Yeah. I even asked him that.
Well, not Tim Woods, Johnny Walker.
The last conversation I had with him, because he was going crazy about this stuff, and I said, what happened to all the money that you raised with that? And then he just blocked me again, and then didn't reply.
Wow. Greg Price is... Oh, sorry. So he is a shyster.
Yeah, he's not a good dude.
Sorry, I haven't eaten all day. I'm done. No more.
We got a couple people here. Jobs, you got a question for Danovich?
Hey, buddy boy.
Yeah, I do have a question. It's great to hear you back, Dano. We missed you here on In Your Head.
Thank you so much, Jobs.
Yeah. By the way, it is very good to have you back.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Wrestling with Wregret, and I wanted to know how you got hooked up with Brian Zane.
Dude, freak thing. I reached out to Brian just to compliment him on Wrestling with Wregret. I was in the hospital with Sarah, and she let me use her phone to watch some stuff to kind of calm me down. It was actually when I had the issue with the blood pressure thing. And I was watching his video, Trash Baggers. Remember that one?
Yeah.
And he's singing the song, and then he has the fake Jim Cornette. Dude, I was so entertained by this guy, and then I found out he was a worker too, and Brian had wrestled against Mustafa Ali. And I was like, if something's really good, I put it over to the moon. And I sent him a personal message, an email, and I really put over how good he was. And I said, look, man, I see you do interviews now and then. You did one with Kevin Kleinlock. I'd love to maybe work with you somehow, do an interview. I put it out to him because we just actually had him on a show I did. I do a SIJW channel, Social Injustice Warrior. I do the podcast for them, SIJW Live. And my first show that I had my own with V Infuso, I interviewed him, and we brought this up that, yeah, dude, he went ahead and said, no, not an interview. He goes, I would want to do a collab with you. He goes, this is perfect. I've been meaning to do something specifically on the $1 Million Tough Enough, not Tough Enough, because he said $1 Million one was the most successful, which it was. So he goes ahead, and we had a snowstorm here, and he sends me this freaking script that was, I had never seen anything like it since I've been in wrestling. And you've seen the episode, right?
Yeah, I have, yes.
Do you remember how I'm always getting hurt and stuff like... Dude, I was so against it. And I thought, this guy's trying to embarrass me and make me into a goof. Like, yeah, I got this guy on. Now I'm going to humiliate him, blah, blah, blah. And I said that to him, and he goes, no, calm down, Dano. It's not that. He goes, look. He goes, it's trying to go ahead and take everything that's happened to you and make light of it instead of being depressed and upset about it. And he said that, and then Sarah, who I'll bring up again, but not her last name so I don't get shot in the face, she went ahead and said, baby, look, it's funny, and it's well written, and it's going to get your name back out there, and boy, has it. So I went to Brian. I said, Brian, let's do it. And how was it working there? I've gone on record to say that is the most fun, along with working with V Infuso after that I've ever had in wrestling. Brian is a freaking genius. He's mentioned the fact that he's a functioning autistic. He's more than functioning autistic. Brian is genius level, and I'm putting him over because not only is Brian a guy I work with professionally and we're going to be working with again, but he's a friend. I was having a bad day recently, and I just said something like, oh, I didn't mean for you to respond. He personally messaged me and asked me if I was all right and how I was. Working with him was so much fun, and listen, you guys see, I can talk. I like to talk because I barely go talking to anyone all day. I go ahead and I tried to change a couple of the scenes and make them my own, and they weren't really that much beneficial to the story. So he's like, Dano, maybe we could just stick to the script. So I'm like, all right, bro, fine. And I went and did exactly what he said. And once I saw the finished product, I was like, damn. The part with the match at the end, I believe I added, where it's like, let's burn this to the ground. He said, burn this to the ground. And I said, dude, I have matches right here. What if I light a match? And then he's like, yeah, and then I could go ahead and get the explosion track and add that to it. I was like, dude, perfect. And then if you watch the end of it, my promo that I cut, my catchphrase of, oh, the Spartan swingers here, out in the West, they know I'm the best. In the East Coast, they love me the most. And going in Lithuania, they're going insania here. So he added that at the end. I didn't have any social media to get a hold of. But Brian and I, I'm not going to spoil it. Brian and I actually have talked about doing another episode with something unique to my character. And the other thing is, the channel that I'm going to be promoting the hell out of tonight, the Social Injustice Warrior channel with V Infuso. V Infuso, and I was at the very end of the collaboration, just did a collaboration with Brian Zane on Chris Jericho's career, all the way going back to Smoky Mountain in Mexico. And Chris Jericho himself on Twitter noticed that V do the video and kind of put it over a little. And Brian Zane and V are actually doing another collaboration that's going to air WrestleMania month, I believe the WrestleMania week, on Brian's channel, the Wrestling with Wregret channel. So I was at the very end of the collaboration video for the Jericho thing, kind of like goofing off, how could my two closest friends not include me? So let's see, maybe I'll be at the end of this collaboration video, who knows? But working with him was wonderful, Job, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy for his success. He's up to 200,000 right now, subs. I was with him when he was just breaking into the 100,000. So the success he has, look, I'm going to say something. I saw that him and that kid from the whole effing show, Scampoli, were having a back and forth. Dude, Brian is my friend. And I swear, man, Scampoli talking about him being retarded and making fun of his autism, and then he had the audacity to say something negative about his beautiful wife Megan and his beautiful little girls. That really was a low blow and pissed me off, man, because you don't go after someone like that, especially trying to make fun of them being autistic, when, first of all, Brian even said, I'm a functioning autistic. And I think he's done more great stuff than the whole effing show ever will. And now Kevin Scampoli can go make a whole video about who is this nobody bringing up my name. Dude, whatever. I just found that as a low blow, and I was actually a fan of his. And then seeing him rag on Brian Zane for all that happened was he told him to not go at Adam Blompier and the What Culture people so hard, and asked them politely to back up a little. They were all going to do a show together, and then the guy freaking went berserk on him and publicly tried to say all this negative stuff. Why does all this negativity have to be out there? Rodney King said it best in 1994, and we still can't just get along. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Anything else, Joe?
No, that was all. Danovich, it's really great to hear from you. I'm glad to hear that you're in a good place, and I hope to see some more of you around here. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Job, thank you. Have a wonderful night, Paisan.
Thank you.
And that's up to Neil in Insure. If they want me to come back for fun and co-host now and then, I would love to. And we can work something out maybe with, I'm going to be getting my own channel, Carlucci's Corner, where I'm going to sit and show, I'm actually going to call it Hanging Out with Carlucci by the Old School TV. And I have an old TV, not a flat screen, in a cabinet that I open up. I'm going to be taking the tablet and videoing the footage of me and commentating over it and talking about stuff that you don't know and see on the videos. My first one is going to be with a guy named Johnny Moxley, an 18-year-old Johnny Moxley from Heartland Wrestling Association in Cincinnati. I was 22, he was 18, and I wrestled him in one of his early matches. Do you guys know who football player Johnny Moxley is?
We had John Moxley on a couple of times on the show. Remember the Shield now. So,
yeah, the poor guy's hurt now.
Yeah, but I was really happy to see him do so well. We had him on the show, and it was very clear that he really loved wrestling, and he talked some stuff off the air, which I don't want to talk about. But it was clear that he really just loved wrestling and wanted to get to the WWE. Right.
Hey, I'm really happy that he's getting Renee Young's punani. Getting blowjobs from Renee Young has got to be an even better accomplishment than the WWE title.
And I got his blood on me at a local wrestling show.
Oh, yeah, dude. He was all into that sick shit with CZW.
Yeah.
And he's a good wrestler, man.
Oh, yeah.
I worked with him more than once in practices, and then I worked a match with him in front of a live crowd in the HWA arena before I got signed. It was actually a month before I went to California. And very, very quiet, humble guy, just wanted to learn as much as he could. We actually shared a bottle of water after the match, sat in the parking lot against the brick wall and just talked about, stuff. And he said this is all he's ever wanted to do. He had a horrible upbringing, but wrestling was always what he loved. And I said, dude, I can relate. I mean, I didn't have a horrible upbringing, but I could relate to wrestling being your passion. And I'm really happy for the guy. I get resentment and jealousy that WWE told me. John Laurinaitis in particular said, you have the potential on the mic, guys, to be the next Rock. And Steve Kern told me, kid, you're holding the winning lottery ticket in your hand, just waiting to cash it in. And the fact, it would be one thing if I failed and I didn't get to, be good enough. But the fact that I hit every check mark and was getting ready to go on the road with Miz and dark matches, Tough Enough versus Tough Enough, and then Mike Knox took my spot because I couldn't physically, I was hurt. I had a broken foot and a broken ankle, and I had the shoulder problems because I told you in the last show I had medical malpractice, and my shoulder has never been the same. At 35 years of age, it's worse than it was at 25. And the fact that I had all these injuries and hindrances, it's not about the millions of dollars it took from me. It's not about the action figures and merchandise it took from me. It's the fact that I didn't get my shot that everybody else got. And I just think that, I got to get that. Even if I have to go to the ring with one arm again, I have to do this because it's going to follow me around forever. And now getting on Facebook and everyone messaging me, when are you going to wrestling again? When are you doing this? Oh my God, I'm your #1 French fan in France. And people from Australia, Italy, it's phenomenal. V and I do the Social Injustice Warrior show. He's got a huge following in Germany. We joke it's because he's got the bald head. But I just got to do this, and I'm happy for these guys. I'm happy to see Nigel, another guy I was linked to, has a commentating job because he can't go no more. And I'm happy to see, other guys I was in training camp with do Ring of Honor or Japan. Carl Anderson and I posted on Facebook. Carl Anderson, a.k.a. Chad Too Bad Allegra, and I were best friends. And one of the Carlucci's Corner things I'm going to show, I showed a clip of it on my page. You can go to my Facebook page and watch a clip. I made a short film that I sold for a lot of money on shows called Carlucci Vice. And it's kind of like a takeoff of Fuji Vice with Morocco and Fuji. Remember that?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too. And I went ahead and did a short movie with me, Chet the Jet Jablonski, the former OVW champion, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, a guy named Brother Clay who did a Brother Love gimmick. Haley Hatred. Do you guys know who Haley Hatred is? She was a big female star in Japan. Okay, well, she wrestled as Bobby Joe Jablonski, was a female star in Japan that was fucking awesome, and she was one of the ladies that Carlucci can say he successfully had Well, you know. Anyway, but anyway, so I'm gonna show everybody this, and the only thing I think that sucks is when I got my deal, Chad and so many people called me, even Pepper Parks, aka Braxton Sutter. These guys were all my boys, and when I got a wrestling contract, I didn't change. I didn't big time anybody, and they all thought I would, and it's like, why? I'm a real person. These guys get a little bit of fame and notoriety, and they fucking completely forget about their friends, and that's bullshit to me. And it just shows what type of people they are. I'm not saying anything disparaging about anybody, but I tell you what, man, Chad and I used to fucking hang out and go to the bars and bring home chicks to his apartment. He would go in the bedroom. I would take the futon, little inside baseball. We would go to the Chinese buffet, go to the gym, train at wrestling. I was there when he got kicked in the head with Derek Nykirk, and his career temporarily ended. So Machine Gun has been doing great, and I wish he was even being used better in WWE. But you know what? I just wish some of these guys and I could reconnect as friends again. It's kind of shitty that, you know, they get a little bit of taste of glory and they forget their true friends.
Yeah. Do you remember Ed Gonzalez? Because I know he's.
Of course I do.
Oh, okay. Because I became friends with him at the doing the conventions.
How did you know I was friends with Eddie? You brought me up?
I know he's friends with Dean Visk, and then I knew you're friends with Dean. So, and I know he wrestled in in Heartland. So I just didn't know if I assumed you guys were around at the same time, but I didn't know.
No, Eddie didn't wrestle in Heartland, but he wrestled for the company I won my first indie strap for, Ace Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And you know, he was a good dude. He was a really good dude, and you know, he wasn't the best worker, and he'll admit that. But him and I traveled the roads. We went to Extreme Wrestling Federation, which was run by the original Hurricane, big dude in Indiana. And Eddie married Heather Owens, who used to do some stuff on HWA that I remember. Yeah, good people, man.
Yeah,
he does.
Oh, she does. He retired recently, but she still wrestles hardcore, Heather. And I gave Ed Gonzalez. I wrestled Ed Gonzalez in a movie theater.
Whoa! When was this? Back up.
I think it was 2012. I think, 2012. Like,
yeah.
Sound right?
Where's the footage of this?
I have it on YouTube. I'll send it to you after the show.
Please?
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm not like blowing smoke up your ass like, I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I have to see this match. Is there a fork spot at any time involved? Does he try to fork you?
It starts out as we're doing kind of live commentary over a movie, and that turns into a bomb, and then it just becomes we start wrestling. So.
I gotta see this.
Uh-huh.
Does he at any time hit you in the head with a soda or a popcorn?
He does not. I give him a big body slam. I think 2 body slams.
All right, in the theater, you gave him a body slam.
Yeah, and his wife was like, "No, don't do that." But,
he's got a family, by God! Don't do that to my husband.
But yeah, it's a fun time. I haven't seen Ed for a while, but Ed's a good
No,
guy.
I haven't seen him in a decade. Actually more than that. I haven't seen him since 2005 at a Shark Boy show that I went to sign autographs at when I was signed, and. You know, Eddie doesn't hide from the fact that he has a lot of money. I mean, I don't think it's a secret. And he spends it, man. I know he's brought in Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and guys like that to do autograph sessions and stuff.
Yeah, he brings them to a horror convention a lot. And I think he makes title belts now.
He does?
Yeah, he makes he was doing it for a while. I don't know if he's still doing that, but he's making replica, belts for a lot of oddball promotions and stuff.
Hey, speaking of title belts, it doesn't get any better than the ace of belts, Dave Milliken, the protege of Reggie Parks, the original belt maker for all the NWA. I don't even have to say WWF. Every belt ever made, Reggie did, and then Dave followed up with him. I posted my first ever indie title, the RWF title, and yeah, I'll admit, I made it for the show. The promoter needed a belt, and I also made a couple of signs and stuff for the RWF Power Zone, and I went and posted that on Facebook, and just asked Dave Milliken, the Ace of Belts, to take a look at it. Oh my God, his response was so awesome about how he liked the creativity of adding the actual foam championship belts front plate with the eagles that I use from light switches here in the house. I cut the light switches off, and my mom wasn't happy about that when I was a kid. But like, Mom, I need it for my belt, so I had to get new light switches. But speaking of Mom, I moved back into my parents' house because Sarah and I were engaged living in Hampton Bays. And guys, I hope none of you would ever have to experience this with a family member. And Jack, I know you take care of Grandma still, so guys, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, Les Thatcher. Well, his mom passed away, but yeah, I'll say he's my worst enemy. He tried to ruin my life. But anyway, my mom got hit by a car, okay, after I was in the rehab the last time, and I had come home to do laundry and take some time away from Sarah and her daughter. Her daughter threw a brick through my windshield, all coked up and drunk, just because she did that. And I'm like tired. My mom's asking me if I want to go for a bike ride with her and sweat this stuff out. And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm just going to lay down. I get a call on the house phone from Good Samaritans saying, Brian, Don's my dad. Rose is here. She just got hit by a car. She's in terrible pain. We're waiting for the ambulance. Guys, I jumped out of my door, ran out of my door like Superman. Like when you see Superman running and the suit comes off him, the shirt and tie. And I ran all the way down the block. It's a long block to get to where my mom was. I saw my mom laying in the street, screaming for me, and having her necklace in her hand because she didn't want to lose it in the ambulance. And my mom got hit by a car, broke her femur, her tailbone, had to have immediate surgery in the hospital. I moved back in to take care of her. I've been here ever since to take care of her, take her to, take her through her therapy, bring her stuff. And that woman, this goes around back to me, that woman is so tough that she refused, like you. Remember how you said they would come after you in the hospital, tell you to take your medicine? They did that to her too, and she refused to take the Percocet, and she just dealt with it. So that woman is completely tough, and I love her and love my dad too. I just got to take them out to dinner for their anniversary. First time I took my parents out to dinner since I had a WWE contract. And now that I have my new business and I'm making some good money, it was really cool to take my parents to dinner.
Very nice. Well, happy anniversary to them as well.
Thank you, buddy.
Very welcome.
So what are we going to do? More questions, or you want me to start talking about the movie? Go for it.
Yeah, we'll go to the movie in 1 sec, but I want to know, you said the last time you wrestled was quite a while ago.
2013.
2013. Even if you, I know you'd love to go back to WWE and everything, but if that doesn't come up right away, would you want to do any indies?
Absolutely, I want to do indies. Like I said, I have Daltino talking to Dave Hutchins, a.k.a. Grimm. It's no secret that's his real name, from Grimm's Toy Show. Do you know that Grimm's Toy Show is the #1 viewed thing, second to WWE, and the kids love it? People my age and your age, 30s and 40s, love it. Mm-hmm. I want to do that. I'd love to go to Japan, maybe not for New Japan, but I'd go to Japan for anything. Guys, I'd even love to not get paid at Impact and go work for Impact. I hear, unfortunately, there's discrepancies with pay. And Vince Russo calls him Ed Norton. He doesn't call him Nordholm. But he made a good, fascinating point. Mm-hmm. What does Ed Nordholm do talking to Dave Meltzer? What is, the guys talking to Dave Meltzer, about Ed Nordholm not paying them? How is that going to get them their money? I guess it's just airing their grievances and venting, but I think some things should be kept private. Now, the problem with social media, in my opinion today, is everybody wants to go ahead and put everything out there. Like, oh, I just ate a sandwich. Oh, I just took a dump. Oh, look at me. I just got dressed and put a shirt on. Too much stuff gets put out there that should remain private. I know Impact's track history of having trouble, but you know what? These guys, even if they're getting paid $50 to $100 a day, like I know Follow Bra, who I'm friends with on Facebook, is wrestling there, and he's doing good for himself. These guys are getting an opportunity to be on international TV, not just national, international. They have a show on UK, Spike. I would actually prefer to maybe go to Impact because Don Callis is there, and he's big into guys that can talk. Don Callis is, I believe, the vice president with Scott Diamore, and Scott Diamore likes big guys. Border City Wrestling's champion is Congo Kong. I used to run the loop at that EWF promotion I just talked about, wrestling Congo Khan when he worked as Osiris. So between him liking big dudes and Callis liking gimmicks and talking, I think I'd have a good run in Impact. And Eli Drake, the former champion, is another student of HWA that I used to work with, and maybe I'll put footage. I don't have any matches with him, but I have footage of the promos he cut. And even then, I knew this kid was going to be special, and he did the Tough Enough too. And they made him an alternate. And I saw him when he was working at Bahama Breeze as a server, and he said to me, "Carlucci, what do I do?" And I said, "Sean, listen to me. I have a deal now, and you were there, you saw how hard I worked, and you've been around me in HWA. I said, you can't quit. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking on the mic. Keep wrestling the best you can." I said, and I'm not saying because he listened to me, but just the fact that he did that, I'm really happy for the guy. He's somebody that I see that gets better every time I see him, from his mic work to his ring work, and he tries something new every time. Like that high spot he tried off the top rope, that springboard when he was wrestling Moose in that mixed tag match. He realized he blew the spot, but then he tried to make something funny out of it, and he just went with it. And that's what you got to do. Too many times guys get in there, blow spots, and they embarrass themselves and then go for the same spot again. Like they get lost. Like nobody taught them how to work right there in the ring. Everything has to be pre-rehearsed in the locker room. Oh, if we don't get to point A, isn't that terrible?
Yeah, we got a caller on the line, 541 area code. Who are you?
What's up? This is Buster.
Who is him, sorry?
Buster.
You got a question for? Yeah, you got a question for Danovich? All right, I guess not.
He hung up?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, did he say Buster?
Yeah, Buster.
Oh my God, you know who that was?
No.
That's the Gaiman.
Uh-oh.
That's the Gaiman who masturbated to me to completion and put the heart over my picture and said he wants me to be his daddy. And I haven't said his real name. Buster is his alias. I would never put him on blast. He changed his voice there too, I think. I think he was trying to do like the old Kane gimmick. My name is Kane. Remember that? He had that gimmick that went to his... I had a promoter like that for Ace.
Maybe he just finished now too. I don't know.
He probably jerked off to me again.
Oh no.
His keyboard's probably a little sticky. I had a promoter that had one of those voice boxes, and Dean Visk, he would always get skeeved out and grossed out, and anytime he was around the promoter, he would have to run to the bathroom and wash his hands because he was afraid that he was going to get Rebels. The guy's name was the Rebel. He was afraid he was going to get his germs on him, and then he was going to get infected with whatever the Rebel had. So Dean would always run to the bathroom, wash his hands anytime he talked to the Rebel and shook his hand or anything.
Let's see.
Yeah. I like how I'm tying all these segues into something. I think this is good stuff. I think to take a break and give myself a progress report, I don't think I'm doing so bad.
I think it's good. We got a couple more people called in here, but they hung up. But anyway,
guys, don't hang up. I'm talking to answer the questions. I know it's drawn out, but that's how I am. You don't like it, I apologize.
Just let people. If you call in, just wait a minute, and as soon as they break, we'll get to you. Otherwise,
but Jonesy, did I answer your question? I really would love to do the indies.
Yeah. And actually, what you're saying, I agree with, because when I grew up, not that I don't like in-ring wrestling, that's not true. But what really got me into wrestling were the over-the-top characters.
Right.
And it's nice that there are some guys who are just, do stuff in the ring that people never did before. But I miss some, there are some guys, but overall it's mostly wrestling is based around guys doing stuff in the ring, and that's not really what holds my attention.
And that's why the viewership is down today. You're
Oh,
in
is
the
it?
majority.
Oh, 561, who is
Kenny?
this?
Kenny!
Oh, Dano!
My brother
The
from
Spartan
another mother.
Swinger.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, guys.
you have a celebrity. Ladies and gentlemen, I spoke about
Oh,
him
no.
before. This
Pete
is
Bryan, the Spartan Swinger. Listen, Spartan, this isn't about me. This is about you. And I'm so happy to see you on this show again with these guys. These guys got the best show on the internet, and I'm so happy to see you on this show. There's no one in wrestling that I've ever met that has more passion than Brian Danovich, and I just want this to be the start. I want this to be the start of a new, regenerating this unbelievable career, and really making something, taking advantage of all the potential he has. He has so much to offer the wrestling business, and thank you guys for giving him the opportunity to come in and share this, with your audience.
Cool. We were happy to have him back. It's been a long time
Kenny,
since we talked to him.
I remember. I saw your last show.
Kenny, we have to do the Don Morocco and Roddy Piper, but I'm such a big fan of yours and all you have done, and the Toxic Avenger, USA Up All Night, WWE contract.
All right. Well, you know what, Dano? This is your deal. This is your thing, man. I'll tell you. If I could just tell a little short story, I back in before Tough Enough, I was home, and I was home sitting down watching Tough Enough with my wife, and I saw, what everybody else saw, that remarkable display of courage and from Brian. And I couldn't believe it. It was the most amazing thing I saw, watching him come out. Finally, we got a wrestler in a day and age when guys are wearing shorts to the ring and jeans to the ring. Some of the guys are very talented. I'm not saying that. Guys are wearing shorts and jeans. We have a guy who goes back. He's putting on the outfits. He's got the good gear. He looks like $1 million. He's got character and charisma. And he goes out there and he takes over the whole show, and he just, he had me in tears. I sat there because I'm a wrestling fan ever since I'm a kid, just like you guys. And I sat there in tears saying, I couldn't believe, because I just couldn't believe this is what was coming back to wrestling. I was looking forward to this unbelievable career with Brian, and little did I know that a year later I would get to meet this guy. And we lived no more than 5 minutes from each other growing up. Would you believe that?
It's
5
incredible.
minutes right down the street.
It's pretty wild.
It's amazing.
And I got to meet him. At Deep South. And, the second he walked through the door, he walked through and said hello to everybody. And me and Brian hit it off like we knew each other for, since we were kids. But we just met that first day.
We've been brothers
we've been
for
friends
15
ever
years.
since. You bet.
Yes.
And
it's so good to have you on the line because now we can promote where it will be all about you, your upcoming appearance on the Social Injustice Warrior Live channel where Kenny's going to talk about his career, how he met Vince McMahon, got a tryout, got in WWE. He's got his beautiful wife Dina is a cancer survivor, and she's doing great things. And they have this wonderful story that they've shared with everybody called Gracie. Kenny, what is it? Gracie's.
Yeah. Well, Brian, that's the book, but it's Gracie's Wild Adventures, but we're getting way off because I don't want to take up everybody's show. You guys put on the best show on the internet. I'm a big listener. I listen to you guys, and you guys are doing an unbelievable job. And, I had to call in to support my brother here and let everybody know that we could only hope. We could only hope that WW or someone, anybody, even I tell him, Brian, all the time, come down here to Florida and work because my friend Pablo Marquez runs our school down here, and he's unbelievable. I love Pablo, and I tell him, Brian, come over here, work with us over here, work with these guys over here. He could do amazing things. I mean, could you imagine a Spartan swinger and a swing time in the middle of the ring? And with WWE, he could bring such unbelievable entertainment back to professional wrestling, and
Kenny, you're gonna make me cry. This is great.
No, well,
oh my God.
Brian, it is what it is, brother. And you're with a great group there, a great group of guys, and with the best show on the internet. So,
well,
all right,
Kenny,
guys.
Thank you so much for calling in. I love you, buddy. We're going to have you on a Social Injustice Warrior Live, maybe next week if you're up to it. And
Let's
then
do it,
it'll
brother. Let's do
all
it.
be about you.
Okay, Brian, give me an O. Oh! It's the Spartan swing time. There he is.
Thank you, Kenny.
I love it, Brian. I love it, brother. All right, take care, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
So, bye-bye,
Good night.
guys.
Love you, buddy.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for calling in, Kenny.
Wow.
Oh, thank you guys.
You guys just got an exclusive. I love that guy. That guy and I. Whew, I'm a little emotional right now. That was some beautiful. That's a real friend telling you that, look, I met him in developmental in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me and shook my hand and was everything you just heard him say, he said to me, and he was so respectful. And freaking Derek Nykirk, who I had known for 5 years, comes up to me and goes, Carlucci, what's up with them damn sideburns, boy? I said, it's part of my gimmick, Nykirk. Oh, okay. I guess it is kind of old school, like a gimmick. Cool. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Take a walk. Then Kenny came up to me. They were all in a line doing drills. And then Kenny came up to me and said everything he just said, shook my hand. Kenny and I actually wrestled together in 2008 before I did the first show, doing my first comeback. And Kenny is very humble. He didn't want to make it about him, but Kenny has been around some big people, done a lot of stuff. I'm going to have him on my show, like I said, on Social Injustice Warrior Live. I hope you guys don't mind I'm plugging it. Kenny was the Toxic Avenger, guys, in one of the Toxic Avenger series, and then did the all-night marathon, which is something you guys do horror and stuff and characters on another show. But Kenny did USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. I've seen all this, so this isn't just somebody telling me, and I had to literally beg him to show me. That's how humble he is, and he's a wonderful father to a beautiful girl named Alyssa, who looks just like him. He looks like a little D. My big sister Dina, who really has been like a real sister, who when I was having trouble with my ex-girlfriend Jill, she stayed on the phone with me for an hour giving me advice and building me up. And his daughter was actually in her mommy's belly when I was down in Florida. So she's yet to meet her Uncle Brian. I can't wait to meet her. She's an equestrian. She gets on these huge horses and rides the horses. Kenny's story about the bird Gracie's Wild Adventure, is a shoot story where Kenny, his wife Dina, and Allie all nursed this bird back to health and have a special bond. And he puts stuff on Facebook, and he's got a book that's a bestseller that is featured online. You can get it, I believe, at graciesadventure.com, or just PM Kenny Thiessen, and he'll send you an autographed book. You got to pay for it, of course. And I'm so happy that Dina's doing better. She had surgery to have her cancer was much worse than mine, obviously. And she's a fighter. And he's a fighter. He's just a great guy. He's so genuine. In this horrible shit business, we both agreed that we were too nice for the wrestling business because we're genuine Italian guys. And his brother actually works with Mick Foley doing charity work. His brother has the children's wing here in Nassau County, New York, at the Nassau County Pediatric Wing of the hospital. His brother John Thiessen just had an event with Mick Foley there as a guest, and it was a success. I love you, buddy, and I'm glad through Facebook we can reconnect every day, and I'm going to definitely come down to Florida. The guy he's talking about, the trainer, I actually wrestled him in 2010, and he trained me again and worked with me. His name's Pablo Marquez. You actually know him from WWE TV as Babu. Do you remember Tiger Ali's Singh's Manservant in 1998, 99-ish?
Yeah. Yep.
That's Pablo Marquez.
I think
he just got
ECW too, didn't he?
Yes. Oh my God. Very good, Jonesy. He was in ECW as Pablo Marquez. He just got Celeste Bonham, a.k.a. Caitlyn, back in the ring. She looks fucking awesome. Excuse my language, but she's beautiful. She dropped that loser PJ Braun, her ex-husband, and she's doing good things for herself. She needs to make a comeback or go to Impact or Ring of Honor. And I would love to go back. I actually lived there for a month before I did use the show, you guys' show, and I was working, and Kenny doesn't admit it, he will on the show. He got to tag team with his idol, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and everybody can have their comments about Nancy Argentina. It's not about that. It's about the wrestling. Kenny got to tag team with Jimmy Snuka. I got to actually wrestle in practices with Jimmy Snuka, and the greatest thing you'll get chills is when Jimmy Snuka does that thing where he licks his fingertips before he goes to lock up with you. Oh my God. Guys, it was incredible. So Kenny, I love you again, buddy. You're going to be on Social Injustice Live, Warrior Live channel next week. We're going to have you on as the special guest for full hour. We got Bin Hameen, who is a guy that I've discovered who is doing the Russo brand podcast called The Conspiracy Horseman, and he's also doing indie shows. He actually offers $5. He'll slap you in the face. He calls it $5 face slap. He slaps you in the face for $5, and you go, yo Allah, infidels. Sorry, the train is coming. If you hear the train, it's not Ice Train, but it's the train.
Choo-choo.
All right, guys, that was a cool surprise.
Yeah, Java is dead is on the line.
Hey, buddy.
Oh no, Java's dead is taking a break. This is what the fuck become a batch. The true champion of all your balls big enough. Not that old ball is hag. Choo-choo-bee.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we're going to get this show back on track. Brian Danovich, first question for you, and I know that you need to know this. This is the true reason why you got released from Tough Enough. Did they preposition you?
I didn't get released from Tough Enough, buddy. I never was released from Tough Enough. I did Tough Enough, and I got a contract.
What? Wait a minute. Okay, so did you do any pushing and pulling to achieve that?
Yeah, I pulled the 200-pound things with one arm. I pulled myself over the obstacle course, the big walls in the sand. I don't know what other type of pushing and pulling. Are you trying to make a gay comment or say that, oh, Pat Patterson, Vince? Okay, we did this on the last show. I laughed, I joked, I put it over. Go ahead. If you want to say that, let's joke around. Okay, did Pat Patterson and Vince McMahon ever fuck you in the ass? No, they didn't.
Pat Patterson? Who the hell? I'm talking about Vince. Did you get the pushing and the pulling in on the move?
No.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in, Cumberbatch.
All right. Keep them balls big.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right.
That's it. Yeah.
So, what were you going to use? Did you say something about a movie?
I see the callers haven't changed much in a decade.
No.
What was that? I'm sorry. Guys, fans, I love you. You got serious questions. I will answer them. We already did this. Last show, did Pat Patterson, I'll repeat it again to get the pop from you guys that want to know. Did Pat Patterson or Vince McMahon try to fuck you in the ass? No, they didn't. Is anything gay that like we've heard about in the past with WWE ever done to you? No. Okay? Ha-ha, we laugh, we joke. Okay, wonderful. Can we go back to the regularly scheduled program?
So you said something about a movie.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Maybe I can take my phone and play the scene, one of the scenes. So Kitty Bay is a survivor of abuse, domestic abuse, as is her son, here in New York, and it was a big story. Kitty Bay is the producer, the director, and it's called Kitty City, and it profiles her journey through domestic abuse, where she went ahead, her son ran away because of it and was missing, and she went ahead and tried to find him, but she was not liking what the cops were doing, and she didn't want anything to happen to her son, So she was hiding him out or something, or trying to find him, and she recruited the mob, okay, and paid the mob. Me and my brother from other mother, Anthony Tartaglia, another Italian paisan of mine, Anthony Tartaglia, who you can find on Facebook too. Him and I play the two. He's the head boss, and I'm the lieutenant in the mob in the movie, not real life, guys. That's another story. But anyway, I play the special enforcer. I think we just refer to me as Dano in it, actually. And I play the special enforcer with him. If I had my phone queued up, I could play one of the scenes. Maybe I'll put it on Facebook. How about that? I'll put one of the scenes up on Facebook where because you can't just hear it over the phone. In the scene, the African American police officer. Actually, I don't like saying African American because anybody that I've talked to, my black friends, you know what they say to me? I've never been to Africa. And they say to me, I don't know why people say that. It's black and white. Nobody refers to me as Italian American. So it's not being racist or anything. The black police officer, played by Michael Shatterly, I believe his name is. He actually owns the barber shop that we were working at in front of it. In the scene, the scene I'm going to put online, he's the police detective trying to find the kid. And he comes to our parlor where he says he knows it's a front for illegal activity. And Anthony and I in this scene stand up so perfectly at the same time. And we go, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. And the kid who's trying to hide runs out of the parlor. The officer sees this and goes, "Hey, don't I know you?" And a chase ensues. Now, this movie, Kitty City, I'm hearing, is now actually going to be condensed into a series that's going to be bought by Netflix and on Netflix. So the cool thing is you had every gang represented, and we were all hanging out and having fun. I don't smoke the ganja, but my brothers and sisters were smoking the ganja. You had the Italians. You had the Puerto Ricans. You had the black groups. You had the Mexican group. You had everybody represented. And there's a scene where, for the opening trailer, we're all in the street, and we had to go different camera angles, different things. We're all in the street fighting for position with bats and sticks and tire irons and going after each other in this scene. And it got so rough and rowdy that a couple of skirmishes happened to where when she called cut, we had to go in a different directions. And I told Anthony, I said, this is play acting. This is fun. This isn't real. And I had to calm him down because he was like a bull in a china shop that saw red, and he wanted to start cracking people in the head with the bat. I said, dude, we're all friends working together. Calm down. He's like, oh, well, Bri, thanks. I had a lot of fun. I believe we filmed for 2 days over the summer, and I can't wait till it's released. We were told we're going to be brought back for the rest of the series. There was several scenes where we put a guy and chased him in the street, and we threw him in the trunk of a car. And supposedly in the next scenes, I'm going to spoil it here, I guess, we take him back to our parlor in the back room, and we work him over, and then like Donnie Brasco, we cut him up with a saw and cut him into little pieces and feed it to the fish. So that's part without your head horror too, I guess, huh?
Very cool, yeah. I think Buster's back on the line.
Oh boy, here we go. Buster, how are you, buddy? Hey.
How did you know it was me?
Because the name Buster, and you'll be proud of me, Buster, I didn't say your real name. You said that if I did one of these shows, you would tell everybody about how you masturbated to completion of me and how attractive you find me, right?
So, how's it going?
I'm kind of doing a show now, Buster. But yeah, you could tell the people, right? And then you sent a heart over the picture of me and told me how much you loved it, right?
Well, today has been kind of a crazy day, but we won't get into the details.
Yeah, I'm just doing a podcast now. That's okay.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Buster.
So you're busting at the seams.
Yes, I'm always busting everybody's chops. So watch out.
Buster, can we talk real quick? Since I know you don't have a question and you're probably nervous. Buster
really.
is your alias, and the fact is I am not going to blow up your spot, but you are living as a closeted gay man for fear of ridicule and people going ahead and going against you, and all the negativity out there, all the hate, which I told you, if you ever decide to come out, no bullshit, no jokes, no playing, I will stand beside you, that you're a proud gay man and you should be able to live in your own skin comfortable and not have to deal with any type of negativity, any type of threats, any type of harassment from anybody, just for admitting the type of person you are. And when you do decide to do that, I'll be glad to have your back. Oops, no, I don't mean that. How about I'll be glad to have your front, not your back, Buster. I know you'll take it.
Calm down.
Buster, but I'm a good guy. Buster, I'm a good guy for saying that, though, right?
Yeah, you're awesome. I just don't feel like I need to really come out to anybody. Just have to be myself.
But you are a closeted gay man and you're living in fear of ridicule.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, it's not easy.
I know. That's why I'm being serious and telling you. You decide to come out. You could even come on the Social Injustice Warrior live show, and I will support you 100%. And people, listen. You know what? The gay bashing that goes on in social media today, get a friggin' life, okay? These people are trying to live a life just like you and I. They deserve to get married and have happiness. True love is a real thing that if you find it, you run towards it and you hold on to it as tightly as you can. And Buster and all his gay community friends, they deserve a life just like you and me, okay? I'm not gay. I never been gay. I never will be gay. But I can see, sorry, Buster, but I could see how these people living in fear is a horrible thing, to where people even committed suicide. Like that one kid, the redhead with the glasses, committed suicide because of being bullied and all that. People, stop the hate.
Well, I got to tell you, it's not really the bullying for me. It was just all the side talk that you hear on a daily basis about how disgusting you are. Not to you directly, so that's why you kind of keep it on the down low. You don't really want to discuss with people your personal business, because as a guy, it's completely unacceptable. And even though you may think like today, gay marriage and all that is legal, it's still, when you're talking to people in groups at work or whatever, and they bring up some gay shit, and then they're like, that's fucking disgusting and blah, blah, blah. And you just like sit there and listen, and you're like, damn. You know, and you hear that growing up, like you're going to hell, to sin.
You're a sodomite. They call you a sodomite.
Right, and it gets into your head, so of course you're going to like suppress those feelings. You don't want to tell everybody in the world. I mean, that's very embarrassing. It's just a lot of different feelings. And, you know, I prayed to God to not be like that. I, you know, just wish that I was never that way. Since I was a teenager, I just, but it wasn't something that just goes away. You can't, you know, I just know for a fact.
It's not like a switch.
The way
you
can't
turn it on and off.
Exactly, right. Everybody's born differently. Everybody's born differently. Some people are bisexual, whatever. But the thing is that, and then some people are straight, and you got to respect them too. So the thing is that that's how you were born, and I know that from a fact that that's how I was born. Always known.
All right.
So, you know.
Well, Buster, I tell you what, we don't want to get too much off on that. I want to thank you for the call. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate being your friend. And if you ever do decide to come out on SIJW Live, I'll give you my full support. No jokes, no nonsense. And you should be able to be comfortable in your own skin. But we got other callers, questions, and thank you so much, Buster, for calling.
They're probably straight. I'm just playing.
Well, that's okay. But thanks again, buddy. You too.
Thanks for calling in, Buster.
Boy, that went in a different direction.
Let's see here. The Song Man is on the line.
Hey, what is up?
Hey.
How's it going, Song Man?
Oh, nothing much. Like, we got a new host today?
What was that?
We got a new host today? Not Incha?
Well, Danovich is here. I don't know where Incha got to. I think I have no idea what happened to him. But Danovich is here. You remember Danovich? He's on the show about 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I believe so. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Like, are you actually kind of pumped up, do you think? Like, I don't think I am, mostly for the WrestleMania card. Like what we've been hearing with Cena and everything. Like, I'm going to blah, 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 get an opportunity for WrestleMania, and then I'm going to break the record of Flair, and then are we going to be seeing this pumped up for this? Like, I'm not. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking into this, because I know that something's going to happen. Like, they're going to pull the shit again with the title.
What do you think, Danovich? Are you pumped for WrestleMania? Is what he's asked.
I don't even know one match that's on the card. I'm serious. How about you, I guess?
We've got,
Is that it? You just got rid of him?
I'm trying to think. I'm not really pumped for it either, and I've actually thought like some Raws were good and stuff, but we get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
And we got Miz,
AJ
Finn
Styles.
Balor,
All right.
Finn Balor, which is Seth Rollins and The Miz, the IC belts.
Mm-hmm. I assume we'll have there's going to be something with the bar, I think, because they keep saying that they beat all the tag teams. And so it seems to me like either an old team will come back or a new team will debut. Something will happen.
Yeah.
Are they really doing Roman and Brock again? Didn't they do that 2 years ago on the WrestleMania for the belt?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, well, kind of interrupted, of course, with Seth Rollins.
Is this supposed to be like Rock and is this supposed to be Rock and Stone Cold doing it at more than one WrestleMania?
I know Meltzer always hints that it might end up being Braun Strowman versus Brock instead.
Yeah, why not do that? That's more of a money match. Let Brock go off in the sunset. Go back to UFC.
And Braun's actually over right now. And I always think you should try to capitalize when someone gets over with the crowd and, they have momentum behind them, and go with the guy.
Right. I don't know.
You remember Vince McMahon back in the days, like the 90s. Like, he always loved the big guys, so why isn't he pushing him for the title like he did with Diesel back in the day?
It's not like Roman Reigns is a little guy, though, either.
Mm-hmm.
John, you back? Incher?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
Songman, do you have a song for us?
I kind of lost it today.
No, the Songman does not have a song.
Do you have a song?
Stumpy.
Maybe because the memory disappeared when Ninja got away, when he disappeared.
Oh, man. Do you have a song for Brian? Do you have a song for Brian Danovich?
Hi, my name is Brian. I have come to play the siren for my one and only lion, 'cause he lives right by the hydrant, and his name, by the way, is Ryan.
Damn. Right there, Brian Danovich. That is the song,
I'm
man.
speechless.
That could be a
I don't know what to say, like you're going to say.
Well, thank you for calling in. You're a good man, Songman, and we'll hear from you again.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Talk to you guys next week.
See you, man. Bye.
Take it easy, Songman.
There we go. We just heard Brian Danovich's new theme song.
Yeah, I'll get rid of Sinatra's Mr. Success, and I'll come out to that. I like how he even said that the whole thing about the lion, and then he said, "Oh, my name is Ryan." So mid-song, he forgot my name.
No worry.
So I have two names. First I was Brian, and then I was Ryan. Hey, it rhymes, I guess.
Usually the ones about inch are much worse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mine are like they barely make any sense.
Thank you for calling, so man. You seem like a very special guy with good talent.
He is a good man. Itri, more questions from Facebook.
I've got a question from Juju B. She wants to know, were you a ZZ fan?
Oh, man.
Nope. I know who he is. I know that he tried to make a joke out of stuff on that Tough Enough, and I don't know. I don't think it was a purpose thing. I think he was just like trying to get over as being the country bumpkin guy that people would have sympathy for. And is he the guy that wore no shoes too?
He may have not wore shoes, but he had like the blonde hair, and he's kind of a heavy guy. So.
Yeah, and they were telling him how he needed to go on a diet and go to the gym. Mm-hmm. I remember when they made us all take our shirts off, Tough Enough in California, and wanted to see our physiques, and that's part of it. And I talked about this on the last podcast I did with Social Injustice Warrior. I know I keep plugging that, but basically they made us in the first Tough Enough come up, do a physical activity, because I did try out for the first Tough Enough, and they found out that I was a trained wrestler, and they made me leave Al Snow and Taz. And then 3 years later, Taz is saying my name all over WWE TV, and Al Snow's giving me a big hug. So dramatic change. Mm-hmm. But they made us go ahead and take our shirts off and do a most muscular pose and then a back shot pose, turn around. And that's part of it, whether people want to believe it or not, then or today, you have to have a physique like a wrestler. As long as Vince McMahon is in charge, and even Triple H to a degree, yes, that's going to be a big deal. And everyone's going to say, oh, Kevin Owens, look at him. Yeah, but you know what? That was just to silence the people and give them what they want and be like, okay, here you go. We listen to you. Here you go. But at the end of the day, we're still going with Roman. At the end of the day, we're still going with Cena. Am I right? I'm not saying anything wrong. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn aren't the champion on Raw or SmackDown. It's the guy that looks like a freaking gladiator, Brock Lesnar, and AJ Styles, who's ripped to shreds. And before AJ, it was Jinder. And before Brock, it was Goldberg. So am I saying anything out of school here?
No, sirree.
I think or you have to look like something, even like like Bam Bam Bigelow or
Bundy or Vader or Viscera. Be a monster.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You have to stand out in some way.
Right.
But in my opinion, I think ZZ's charisma transcended his physical appearance.
What happened to him?
This has been a big debate. This has been a big debate with me.
They railroaded him right out of there. They're like, oh, he's just the fat guy, blah, blah, blah. Even though he started out being the most popular character on the show. But
he didn't do anything with it.
Don't listen to Jack. He didn't even hardly watch the show. I had to fill him in on everything.
I never saw the charisma, honestly. I just thought he's just kind of like this.
He seemed nervous to me. Can I just say that? Am I wrong for saying that? He just seemed kind of awkward and nervous.
He seemed kind of quiet and shy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I don't know. I wasn't like he had this. Wasn't like it was like the next coming of Dusty Rhodes or something. I never really saw anything in him.
Right.
He just kind of seemed like this, like he's like Brian said, this kind of bumpkin, like.
Bumpkin, I love the word bumpkin. Hey, I forgot to ask you before. Where was this show in Kentucky that you were in the jacuzzi?
Oh, it was at, what was it called?
Oh, that was
Owensboro?
Lexington.
Okay, see, I had to ask. You know why? Because I wanted to know if I wrestled in that city in Kentucky, and I most certainly wrestled in Lexington. I could even get it off my head, top of my head. 2003, I want to say we did. I believe it was in Lexington, or maybe we did the Yucatan Liquor Stand. You guys see that when you were there?
Mm.
No. All right. Well,
I went on the Bourbon Trail. most of the
time. And we saw a homeless man who's quite famous, and he was trying to sell his batteries.
Oh, I just made that up.
Oh, you made that up?
Yeah.
You see, you tell me these things, and I take it as fact. I don't know. I thought so.
I love how 10 years later you guys still argue like an old married couple. It's tremendous. Don't ever change the two of you. I swear to God, I feel like somebody just made it a month later, and it's 2000. It's like August of 2008, and it's like nothing has changed. The quality of the callers, which I'm not saying anything disparaging, but it's completely the same. The questions, it's like, this is great. This is like going back to high school.
So we were getting street tacos, and there was this old black guy who was trying to sell everyone batteries, and he had a big piss stain on the front of his pants. And I told Intra that was this famous guy in the area, Piss Pants McGee. But it was just something I made up.
It wasn't
made that off.
Yeah. I would have detected that one. I would have known that was fake.
You just made that up.
Yeah, I mean,
you gave this guy a working gimmick and a backstory and everything.
Yeah. It was Pissy Pants something.
McGee, I would have known though. You came up with that. It was not McGee. But yeah, Jack, he's tried to stab me, and I've tried to go like over and gone you on Jack, and it's been some crazy times.
Speaking of McGee, Angel Williams, who was in The Beautiful People as what was her name? I forgot. But we used to call her Tits McGee in the Deep South Wrestling. She was our reporter. What was her name in The Beautiful People? Somebody in the chat. Angel Williams, the blonde, married to Davey Richards.
Angelina Love.
Angelina Love, thank you.
Yeah.
She, one day in practice, was really trying to fire me up and motivate me because she see I was hurting my shoulder. She gave me a nice big slap on the ass, and I swear I'm not even joking. It was like a lightning bolt came on my ass, and I really got fired up and got right back in the line and started doing drills.
Next.
Hey, I noticed that fucking no-good cocksucker Bill DeMott in 2011 had some negative things to say about me that, oh yeah, he did the Tough Enough thing, and what else is he known for? Let me tell you something. I believe in karma, and I'm not trying to start a huge fight with this guy. I don't want nothing to do with him. But I have nothing to say about Bill DeMott, because karma, unfortunately, I hate to say it, got to him. Unfortunately, the guy lost his daughter to a drunk driver, which is one of the most horrible things. I would never want that to happen, regardless of how I feel about the guy personally. And it seems like he's like ballooned up to, no joke, like 400 pounds. I'm not exaggerating. Like, he's enormous. So I know he's probably got to be having he had horrible crippling knee pain when I was there. I know he's had to tape his knees up. But I know you guys like controversy. I know you're like a fat chick at an all-you-can-eat buffet. You're in love with this people saying stuff, and I don't blame you. You like that analogy, huh? Bill DeMott came on this show. Yeah, thank you. He came on this show in 2011 and said, and I was actually in the Carolinas wrestling. I was in my hotel room, and I saw this. And he had the audacity to say, Jack properly said, hey, you were in DSW and Brian Danovich was there. What did you think about working with Danovich? Oh, well, the guy who did the Tough Enough thing and did 150 pounds and got hurt. And like, well, was that the actual weight? First of all, no, it wasn't. And number two, okay, he goes, oh, well, I really don't think there's anything else to say about him. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we talk about how when I got into developmental, Miz and Ryback, yeah, I'll tell them all, Festus, a.k.a. Gallows, Nick Mitchell of Spirit Squad, all these guys told me what a horrible person he was in training and how he was really trying to, like crush their spirits, and they were all calling the office complaining. And I went and said, you guys are a bunch of pussies because you're being paid by WWE to train. Let me tell you something. Within 1 week there, I totally saw what they were saying. Now, I didn't go to WWE and complain, but I sucked it up. But it was the worst experience in my wrestling career, even worse than dealing with Les Thatcher calling me a Dago Guinea. Bill DeMott, okay, would get you there, and it was like being in boot camp. And every day that I go into work, I would lose my passion for wrestling more and more. Sad thing that happened to him, too, his grandfather died of a funeral. His grandfather died and he had to go to a funeral. Excuse me. I'm getting so fired up, I'm not speaking right. Now, that's a horrible thing to happen, but it was the best week that we had happen to us, because guess who took over? Jody Hamilton, the assassin. Those were the best practices where we learned so much. We got in the ring and we would learn about psychology and learn about the proper things of what to do, why to do it, when to do it. Jody Hamilton put us in there and really let us go ahead and get a wealth of knowledge from him that we never got when DeMont was training. So I just wanted to clear up that, somebody going and taking a shot at me. First of all, it was 225 pounds that I did for 15 reps when I only had to do 10. And the idiot that was spotting me just stood there with his finger up his ass while the thing bounced off my chest. And I just went under the bench after I had done the fast run from one side of the sand to the other. So I was blown up and the lactic acid was in my joints. So you know what? He can go ahead and talk his shit to someone else because I don't care. Let's forget about that.
So what about Les Thatcher? You brought him up a couple times. Tell us the story with Les.
He was a wonderful trainer, very good trainer. I said this on your last show. I'll say it again. He would call me Dago and Guinea like regularly. And it really started to piss me off because I used to think, gee, would he say that to Bruno Sammartino if he walked in the door? He slapped me in the face 3 times one time, like, not hard, whatever. And he goes, Dago, I'm going to make a good worker out of you. And he did, because I listened to him. I listened to his advice. He flipped out on me when Asia, my ex-girlfriend, came there. And so I was hanging out with her and said, I've seen pussy ruin many careers, including Tommy Rich's, and it's going to ruin yours. Which, okay, whatever. He said to me, Brian, because she was working as an actress, trying to get into Hollywood and New York City's drama theater for Lee Strasberg. And she said, Brian, she's going to wake up tomorrow and turn into a famous actress or a model, just like I'm going to wake up tomorrow and turn into Jesus Christ. And just not a nice man. If I had to do it over, I would never go there. I would have went to Wild Samoan office, like how he took care of Batista and guys and stuff. And just horrible, horrible experiences with him. We almost got into a physical fight where I just lost it on him, and we had to be restrained by the whole locker room because I was putting on my gear for a title fight in the main event. It was going to be me and Chet the Jet for the title. And he's like, the clown's putting his clown shoes on, and don't forget the nose and the green wig. Because, I wear the blue tuxedo with a vest and bow tie. And I just said, motherfucker, why do you have to always fuck with me? And I threw my bag down and just started losing it. And he acted like he wanted to fight me only when people were holding him back. And then finally I said, you know what? I don't care that this guy's like 50-something years old. I don't give a fuck. It's eventually what got me to leave, and it's the best thing I did, because then I went to all the indies and won all the titles, whether either I had a heavyweight title or the tag title separately, or 9 times out of 10 I had them at the same time. But I don't know, I'm not going to say anything disparaging about him other than the fact that it really wasn't cool being called Crazy Dago or Crazy Guinea every day. And, he was an incredible trainer. And the good thing about him was you could tell that he thought you were something if he took the time to go ahead and get in the ring with you. If he didn't, he would just be like, yeah, looks good, and then go in his office and not care. With me, he always took the time to get in the ring and go over everything, because he wouldn't tell me to my, well, yeah, he did once to my face. He said that I was money all the way from my physique to my promos, and now I just needed to learn how to work. And he was a good trainer. So actually, aside from Crazy Dago and Guinea, and a couple other things, I'm not going to negatively say anything. Even DeMont, you know what? This is bullshit. That's nonsense drama. It's not going to put any money in our pockets. We're not going to work an angle, so it's not even worth saying anything negative about.
So how is your shoulder doing? I know you mentioned earlier about, you got clean and everything, and you're still pain.
Jack, you're killing it tonight with the questions. Your interviewing has really gotten even better than it was before. Thank you for asking, number one. I wish I could say great. Dr. Andrew Davey, my chronic pain doctor, I go to him on the 27th for a new procedure. He's going to inject, not cortisone, but he's going to inject something into my shoulder that should lube up the joint and stuff, which will get me back into more activeness in the gym and training. To be honest, Jack, I'll admit to taking a painkiller and a muscle relaxer that's prescribed to me the other day because we've been having some killer weather here in Long Island. And the rain and the snow, just the arthritis, everything, it makes it hurt. And the other day I was like, oh shit. And I had been, for my job now, these bins of wrestling figures and memorabilia get pretty heavy, and I was moving them all. Listen, it was worth it for almost $4,000 in sales. But any type of activity bothers it, which is going to be shitty for being in the ring. But I'm trying to do, besides just popping a pill, I'm trying to do, my cousin's a yoga instructor, so she's going to have me do all these different stretches and icing and heat and stim. And hopefully these injections that I start on the 27th are really going to help me out with getting back in the ring and when I go in the gym, I'm either all or nothing. So once I get back to clanging and banging, I want to hit it hard, so I don't want to, waste my time. So hopefully these injections will help. But thank you so much for asking. To answer your question, it's pretty bad, man.
Yeah. So what kind of shape are you in?
Not bad. I actually can post on Facebook. When I was with Sarah, part of the reason I left, I was 360 pounds. Right? And now I'm 285. Even my buddy V just saw a picture of me. He's like, wow, you could tell that you're really starting to lose even more weight. Sarah had been so generous, but I think she just kind of wanted me to be, her husband that hung out with her on the couch. She would buy me whatever I wanted to eat, like cheesesteaks, pizza with bacon and sausage, drinking not a case of beer, a 40-pack of beer, just myself, going and smoking cigarettes. Yeah, I know, disgusting, and something I'm trying to quit now, which is killing me. And I was getting so fat that I couldn't see my dickus anymore. Literally, if I look over, I couldn't see the poor guy. And I just said, enough of this. And I packed up all my stuff and left, and I have never been back. And I went ahead and moved back here to help my mom. And also, I had to lose weight. I went on a low-carb, high-protein diet, and I started dropping the weight. And now I'm down to 285. My clothes fit me. I feel better. My mobility is better. Because when you're over 350 pounds, guys, it kills you. I know you guys are big dudes too, but you're not over 350. That kills your ankles, your feet, and I was having problems with that too. So now I'm feeling a lot better. So I'm trying to, my goal, if you look at me in Tough Enough, I was 255 stacked and jacked on no steroids. That was all consistency in the gym and diet. I'm looking to get back to 255, 260 lean and really tan and look the best I can for this last run.
So you mentioned a few times about your business. How can people find that and see what kind of stuff you're selling?
Yeah, if you go to me on Facebook now, that's really, as great as it is to reconnect with everybody and hear from fans. If you go to Brian Danovich on Facebook, and it's got my aliases, Spartan Swinger, Magnificent Carlucci, what you do is you send me what is it called? Personal message? Messenger?
Yeah, a message, yeah.
No, you go to message and you message me. Right now, I just posted the 3 different Hasbro Razor Ramones that I'm selling. All this stuff is from my actual collection that I had. And it's time to sell everything because, guys, it's sitting in the storage shed in storage, all bundled up in storage bins. I've been moving around like a gypsy since 2000, going from here to Ohio, then Georgia, then Georgia to Florida, and then, you know, to Sarah's in Sarah and I had a place together in Hampton Bays. So I can't take this stuff and have it displayed like I would love to. And it's like, there's people that have met me coming from England. I can say his name, Daniel Lee. He came all the way from England. He's listening right now. He told me he would stay up and listen. It's like 3 a.m. there. He came, he bought all my Bretts, all my Takers for a good price, $400. And then I had another customer that cleaned me out of 50 different Hasbros at like $3,500. So I'm doing good for myself, but it's bittersweet, guys. Jack, do you still have your Dusty Rhodes figure?
Yeah, I do. It's right here to my left. The Dusty Rhodes and polka dots. He's still in the package.
Okay, Jack, do you know what that's up to right now?
No, I haven't looked any of that stuff up.
Jack, that's up to almost $1,000.
Really?
It's up to like $800.
Oh, wow.
Depending on the card, if the figure card is not creased or bent, you could get $1,000, no questions asked for that.
Wow. I noticed because I joined some of the same pages you do on Facebook there, and there's like a Kamala one that's got the
moon.
Yeah, that goes for crazy amounts.
That's, I believe, one of the most valuable Hasbro figures in existence, second to the catalog prototype of the Rhythm and Blues Greg the Hammer Valentine that I believe Zack Ryder doesn't have it. His friend Mark does. I saw a whole video on it. Guess how much with total shipping and everything that guy paid for it?
I have no idea.
$15,000.
Man.
For a figure. You could buy a car brand new for that. You could put a down payment on a house.
That's how much Intra puts down for new Nintendo games, though.
Mm-hmm. $15,000?
No, I've never spent $50,000 on a Nintendo game. But,
Inchman, are those the old school ones we grew up as kids with?
Oh yeah. I have a bunch of those. I think I'm.
I have those. I'm not selling them. My grandma bought them for me, but God rest her soul. I have Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Contra, Pro Wrestling with Starman and Fighter Habusi. Do you remember? If I say this to you, what does this mean? Up, up, down, down, B-A, B-A, select, start, go.
That's the... Oh, wait a minute, Jack. That's the Konami code. No. It worked on more
That's Contra. He was right.
No, it worked on Gradius, too.
Okay. I just know it from...
Yeah, I think
I just know it from Contra. It would give you unlimited life.
Mm-hmm. Well,
right?
Every time you die, you could bring it
30.
back.
Yeah, it'd give you 30 men.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
God, we're getting all audiences. I even said the figure community and the stuff, I get them. Now we got the gamers. But yeah, okay. Guys, go to Brian Danovich Facebook. Apparently, I do have a Twitter. V set up a Twitter for me at Real Brian Danovich or just at Brian Danovich. It has a cartoon character likeness of me. I just talked about how I had a falling out after 18 years with pro wrestler Rory Fox, a.k.a. Steve Mosh. You know him from MTV True Life, I Want to Be a Wrestler.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the dude was just not a good person. I'll talk about it here, too. You like the drama. The guy didn't know how to say thank you. and show any appreciation. And then everything had to be all one-sided about him. And I was in the hospital, and my buddy V of 6 months now says, when I told him I couldn't do a show, "Oh, I just care about my friend getting better, not the show." And Steve goes ahead and calls me, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm sick. I'm on bed rest. I'll talk to you." And it was almost like, "Oh, you can't go ahead and listen to me talk about myself and put myself over? Okay, goodbye." No, like, "Hey man, I hope you're feeling better." And I don't care if I sound like bitching like a woman. There's stuff that is private that I can't go into, because I actually committed a crime for him, but I won't get in there, and no thank you for it. But not to get into it, but yeah, dude's just not a good person and not a genuine person. So after 18 years of traveling the roads all the way to Chicago, wrestling together, being brothers, he came to visit here in New York a few years ago, and he got messed up on Valiums and vodka, and I carried him home and passed up on a three-way with two hot chicks that were pulling up my pictures online. I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're standing in front of us." It's like, yeah, now I have to take this goof home to put him to bed. I should have came back out and hung out with them, right, boys?
Exactly.
What was I thinking?
He could have waited.
Yeah, I could have put him in the corner, and he could have been like Weekend at Bernie's. I could have put a hat on him and a pair of glasses. No one would have known the difference. So, but yeah, get a hold of me at Facebook, private message, and the way that I work it, guys, out there, is I will show you pictures of whoever you request. I'll be glad to, like, after the show, to the gentleman wanting an Erwin R. Shyster Jax figure, I know exactly where it is. I will locate it, take a picture. We'll agree on a price. I don't take PayPal. My dad had a bad experience getting ripped off with money, so I don't take PayPal. You send me a money order. I give you the P.O. box. You send the money order. I get you your stuff, or you meet me at Long Island, in Long Island, like my buddy Daniel Lee from England did. He took the train, guys. He took the train. He got a flight to Newark Airport. Then he went ahead and got a cab to Penn Station by his hotel. Then he took a train, hung out at Applebee's for an hour because I was coming back from the doctor. And then all of a sudden he met me at the train station, and I got him all his figures.
Very cool.
Awesome.
All the way from England, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the only reason. Yeah, that wasn't the only reason he was here, though. But I like to tell people that my collection is so good that's why he came here just for that. But that's not why. But yeah, business is going good. I mean, it's so good to have the platform to have you guys have me on this show again, and to have stuff to talk about. Because years ago, you guys were going to have me back on. Jack, we can talk about the elephant in the room. We can do this. You went ahead. You wouldn't think I'd see it because I didn't have a capability of the internet at the time. I didn't pay no mind to it. You went ahead and you put a poll up like Andy Kaufman's Saturday Night Main Event or Live Style, and you put a poll up asking the fans to vote, should Dano come back or not? Am I right?
Yeah, it was on the In Your Head Facebook page.
And I actually got a number of votes for yes, and I was surprised that there was a few negative comments, and they more so, we're going to get into that next question about my memories of the Friday Night Fever, but a couple of the Fever listeners said that I had rambled on incoherently on the Friday Night Fever. Well, I guess you guys know why. I was totally screwed up on Xanax, Valium, and oxycodone. So that's why you had to sit through those. But Jack, our last show about we did the patriotic one on 4th of July. Mm-hmm. I thought that was good. And then we did top stars to never be the world champion.
Yeah, that was a good one too, because so many of those guys, like if they're around today, they'd be multiple-time champ. But
of course.
At the time, which I like better though, and it's cooler to think, hey, it's I can't believe that Rick Rude was never WWE champion or Kurt Hennig.
I know. And Kurt Hennig should have totally.
Yeah, because now it's pretty much anyone who's like anywhere like the main event guys had the title at least once.
Yeah, if you're there long enough, chances are you'll get it.
Yeah.
Which is it's
nothing against Jack Swagger, but I mean, Jack Swagger's not on the level of Rick Rude or Kurt Hennig.
No,
multiple-time champ, I believe.
And I like Jack Hager or Swagger, whatever he goes by now, but he just didn't have the charisma. And then they got Dutch to talk for him, and they didn't do anything with that. And that could have been something good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that did start to get over, and then they split them up when it got over.
Right.
Then it really went nowhere because
why would you put him with Alberto Dorito instead of going ahead and having him with Jack? That made no sense.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ruined both guys. And I remember Cesaro was really over when they did the split, and then he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal when he did that really cool body slam of Big Show over the top rope.
Oh, yeah.
And then they immediately turned him heel again. It was very strange to me.
Yeah, they have not. I saw Vince on that podcast say, "Oh, well, he's Swedish, he's foreign, so he doesn't connect with the." What bullshit! When that siren used to hit, he'd get like the biggest pop, and the people have such respect for his in-ring ability. Look, I have so much respect for Claudio. Claudio went on television in a shoot promo when he found out about the draft, and he didn't like that he wasn't going to SmackDown. And he said, look, he goes, I know it's been brought up before that I'm not the best at communication. He goes, please accept my apology. English is not my first language. I try my best with the stuff. And he messed up his promo a few times, but the guy came out and apologized. Said, look, talking's not my strong point. I go in the ring and I go ahead and let my actions speak. Dude, why couldn't they keep Paul Heyman with him? They had Paul Heyman with him for like 2 weeks, and they were going to do something, and then all of a sudden they went ahead and got rid of it. Why?
It seems like every time he's like gotten over, they just stop or change him heel, or I'm not sure why. Like, I actually like his team with the Bar. I think that's really good, but
yeah,
I don't know. And he's a guy I mentioned earlier about not only, but certain guys are special in the ring, and they are cool. Like, because his stuff is like genuine power, like when he's doing the different suplexes and stuff. Yeah, it's really impressive stuff. He's doing like stuff.
Don't you think you could see him having a match with Brock and taking such heat, and then out of nowhere he gives Brock the swing, and then he does something more heat, and then Brock goes for that F5, and then he goes behind and hits an amazing, like, I don't know, an O'Connor roll or something, and he wins the Universal title, and the whole place explodes, and he gets wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, because his all his stuff is believable. So you could buy him, hurting Brock Lesnar, even though he's physically bigger and stuff. And people like him, and because they know he's good. So there's so much potential there. And that's another thing. He stopped doing the swing after it started to get over, because I guess they don't want like a heel getting like a pop. But I don't know. When you have something that the fans actually genuinely like, run with it, I think.
Absolutely. They had T-shirts and everything with it. I will even admit, I got his action figure for $5, and it came with a broken Andre the Giant trophy, where I really got it. I saw it was $5. I really got it for the trophy. And the trophy, you could build it and break it and stuff, but like it just seems like he goes ahead and starts doing the James Bond thing, and they put him together with Sheamus, and that was cool. It reminded me of Chris Benoit Booker T series, but then all of a sudden it just seems like they went nowhere, and then all of a sudden now, okay, the Bar. But Sheamus, if you guys don't know, is on borrowed time. I've had spinal stenosis, and thankfully what happened was I actually was supposed to go to Puerto Rico and wrestle, and I spoke to Bushwhacker Luke, when he was booking there, and I was supposed to go down there, but I fell on the ice like really bad. More Carlucci bad luck. I had the spinal stenosis like Sheamus. Mine actually wound up healing a lot and getting a lot better. Sheamus is completely screwed up, and he's on that taking bumps every night, so it's only going to get worse. He's like 40-something now, so he's on borrowed time. So when he's done, they're going to have to run with Cesaro, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Inchman,
Me too. You got to give them what they want. Hey, speaking of... I just said Chris Benoit. Somebody tried to be cute, I think, but I'm going to answer it anyway. I don't have my tablet in front of me. Seeing that someone wrote a question, did I sense that Chris Benoit had the killer instinct he did when he was in the ring? First of all, that's not funny. Secondly, I've been in the ring with Chris Benoit in the Heartland Wrestling Association when he was recovering from neck surgery. Then I was in the ring with him when he came to train with us in Deep South. Like, you're making a joke about killer instinct, but to be honest, he did. He went in, like, you locked up with Benoit, you knew he was there. And he wouldn't give you anything unless you took it. You had to work your way into something to get him to put it over. Like, you couldn't just take his arm. You had to fight for whatever you got. And I saw another question was, do I think he had sympathy after he choked out his wife and son? It's not funny, dude. The guy was probably so screwed up in the head and deranged, not only from the trauma he had with the concussions, but it came out, too, that he was on a lot of different drugs. He was on the same medicines I was, the prescription pills, the Xanax, the Valium. I could even think that he was probably so gimmicked up. They said they found bottles of wine empty and bottles of beer cans empty. I would think he got himself so screwed up that he probably had no idea what he was doing. And he was on mountains of testosterone too, which also, when you go above a dosage of 500 milligrams a week, it can completely screw you up. So I really think that you're trying to get, over with, let's make jokes about Benoit. It's not a funny situation. I like to consider he was a friend of mine, maybe not a friend like close, but he took the time to work with me. And this is even before Tough Enough. In HWA, when he was recovering from his neck surgery, he told a couple of the trainees that they needed to go stick to bagging groceries or whatever else they were doing. And then he told guys like me and a couple of the other guys in there that he saw something in, that he would go ahead and work with them and teach them stuff. And I remember him, Steven Richards, D'Lo Brown, all guys that worked with us when they were going in and out and were really good dudes. And Benoit, this was his whole life. Like, some of us it is, some of us it's a hobby. This was his whole entire life. Like, I think wrestling, unfortunately, his wife and kids, I think, took a back seat to wrestling. And I think that Nancy had enough of it, and she was saying she was going to leave and take Daniel, and I think he just lost it. And I think it's a horrible situation. And 11 years later, anybody trying to make a joke of it, seriously, it's not funny, guys. A baby is dead. A mother, a daughter is dead. And you know what? A guy that was idolized and respected by millions is dead. There's nothing funny about that. Sorry to kill the mood. Let's get another one.
Inchman, do you have the questions, Andy?
Yes, I have them right here. Jason Mitten, he is back with a vengeance, and he wants to know, who do you prefer on commentary, Booker T or Corey Graves?
I don't know that I prefer any of them.
Okay.
I like them, but I'm an old school guy. I like my Bobby Heenan, my Jesse Ventura, my Bobby and Gorilla, my Vince and Jesse. And I'm sorry, I just feel like, I used to do commentary in HWA and on other indie shows, and it's not as easy as people think, and to be as quick as those guys were on their toes, it just gives you a whole nother level of respect for them. I think Corey Graves really tries to be knowledgeable and insightful, and a lot of people don't even know Graves was a worker for years and then went to NXT, was a tag champ. So some people don't even know that. And Booker T, former 6-time world champion, I think he did a great job. And to go ahead and pull him off, hey, it's Jonathan Coachman, so it gives a lot of credibility, being that Coach was a professional sportscaster with ESPN. I respected both of what they did, but if you're going to ask me who I prefer in commentary, I'm going to take them out of the equation and say Gorilla Monsoon or Bobby Heenan or Jesse Ventura, and unfortunately we'll never have that again. But I'm an old school guy. I tolerate wrestling today when I turn it on. I watch it. To be honest, I listen to a podcast and I mute Raw or SmackDown and I watch it. So I don't even really pay mind to it anymore.
Another question, Inchman.
Excellent. Jason Mitten also wants to know, do you like goats? It's kind of a strange question. I know Jack likes goats, that's for sure.
Do I like code?
Goats.
Goats? Oh, like the power goat you call yourself?
Yeah, the power goat. But you see, this is the thing, Brian.
Yeah.
When I went to the convention that was a few months back, they bought a little blow-up goat that you can have sex with. And they're parading it around at the convention, and they were saying that this represents me now.
I thought you'd be happy. We had our own power goat that we could bring around when you can't make it.
It has a little slot in the back, and Jack was acting like he was giving it to it and everything. And would you be upset with this, or would you?
It's just kidding around, dude.
So wait a minute. It has a slot in it, so I'm assuming you go ahead, you fill the slot with like lube or Vaseline, and then you put your dick in the slot.
Yeah, if you were to do that, but we didn't do it. We didn't have any. There was nothing. There was no hanky panky going on with the goat.
You could put your finger in it too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I have to say this. It was very shallow.
Did you use two fingers or one?
I don't think I could get two fingers in it. It was very tight, and it was.
So
it
the
wasn't
goat
very
is tight.
deep. Yeah. It's like a virgin goat.
Oh. Well, Jason, is that a Jason Minton?
Jason Mitten, yeah. He's the one who bought the goat, and he brought it to the convention when I was there, and
I brought it to the Slash convention in Charlotte.
Yeah,
because you couldn't make it, so then we had our own power goat at the table.
Well, Jason, I accepted your friend request today, and now I'm wondering if that was a good idea. I don't have any interaction. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just playing. I'm glad we're friends. Jason, I have never had any interaction whatsoever with a goat of any kind. I used to go to the zoo as a little boy. Well, I was never little. I used to go to the zoo as a boy, and I saw the goats. I maybe even fed them. I really don't know. I don't dislike goats. How's that?
See. Mm-hmm. And at this last convention, I even put the Road Warrior Animal Zubaz mask on it for a little while.
On the goat.
On the goat, yeah. It was on our table. We had a table at the convention promoting Without Your Head, and it had a blow-up goat.
Did you sell 8x10 pictures?
We did not, but people did get their pictures with the goat. And Road Warrior Animal's there. This is why I brought the mask, because I was hoping to get an interview with him, and I was going to wear the Zubaz Road Warrior mask while I interviewed him. But he actually got sick and left, so I never got in person. We've had him on the show, but
yeah, he's awesome.
Oh yeah. So,
he's doing a lot of interviews lately, keeping the Road Warriors name alive, and I think he just wrote a book too. Am I right?
Yeah, it was a few years ago. That's when we had him on when his book came out. It was actually a really good book.
Who's the latest, guys? I hate to say this. I haven't been following. Who's the latest legends you've had on?
Let me look here. We haven't had as many guests on the last year or so. Let me check here.
Is that a personal preference or just coincidence?
Well, it's fun just doing the show, but when all the wrestlers started doing shows, we had a bad run there where everyone just kept no-showing. Not really sure why. They told you they'd be on, and then they just completely blew you off? Yeah. Ahmed Johnson no-showed. That I believe. The Trish Stratus no-showed. Really? Yeah, the Brodus Clay no-showed. Yeah, he just no-showed an event for Eric Sims today. Yeah, I saw that on the Facebook page. So, and Animal, actually, funny this how all this segues. Animal commented, Eric, that's why you book reliable talent. Yeah. Well, the last few guests actually were all very good. We got Ken Shamrock. And George, I ain't talking shit about you, George. I remember you from DSW. I didn't say anything negative, so don't start anything on saying I said something bad about you. Yeah, we had Dan Severin on and Ken Shamrock on recently. Both those guys. At the same time? No, actually, we had Ken on who talked about Dan Severin, and so then, as you sound like controversy, so I happened to mention that to Dan Severin in an email, so Dan came on to answer what Ken talked about him. So. Oh, you love it! You love that controversy, like a fat chicken and all-you-can-eat buffet. You're in love with controversy. It was good. Have good interviews.
He's stirring the pot.
I'm not even just saying that like, oh, you say stuff, you're on the show, and then you go do your own thing and bullshit. I'm totally going to listen to those. Oh, and Vince Russo was on recently. That was a good one. Bro, you had Vince Russo, bro. Yeah. How many times did he say bro? Quite a few. And not necessarily Hannibal, the Animal, at Hannibal TV, did an interview shoot with him for like 2 hours. Actually, maybe like 90 minutes. He had something in the corner of the screen called the Bro-O-meter. Yeah. Right. He literally said bro 195 times. I mean, seriously, like, I don't even think he's conscious of what he says, and like, now Disco Inferno and him do a show, and the new thing is Disco gets on him about not speaking proper English and saying instead of the word album, he'll say albums, and then he'll say all these words improperly. And Disco will get on him about making himself the WCW champion and about how he doesn't know how to speak proper English, how he has no idea how this guy was the writer of the WWF and WCW television, and he doesn't know how to speak proper English. It's kind of entertaining. Yeah. Oh, we had Disco on, too, a year or so ago. Oh, that I got to listen to. Yeah, was he totally kayfabe, or was he just... Yeah, he was out of character. That was a really good show. That one actually is at the top of the list. But I'm curious, did Severin or Kenny Shamrock have any reasoning as to why WWE had the hottest angle in sports, combat sports, with the two of them were in the promotion at the same time? Why they didn't capitalize on the rematch? Ken said the reason was that this is what I quoted this to Dan Severin. Ken said that as soon as Vince saw Dan Severin in the ring and take his shirt off, he lost all interest in Dan Severin. Yeah, okay, I heard that too, and I heard that he was wrestling with the that famous. They actually made his action figure come with it, and I've been trying to get that for years. That's actually something I want. Anybody out there that has the UFC Legends Dan Severin with the gray sweatshirt, please PM me. But anyway, that's for my personal collection. But anyway, I heard that Pritchard and Vince. He was wrestling in the gray sweatshirt with the sweat stains, and they told him to take the shirt off. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he took the shirt off, and Vince said, "Okay, put the shirt back on."
Yeah, it was pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
That's too bad, though. I mean, come on. You could have got a black singlet. They could have had one of those guys. I saw the Lions Den match between Owen and Shamrock in that structure.
Yeah.
It was like cutting edge for back then. It was ahead of its time in 1998. And it was so cool that they were branching off into mixed martial arts. I loved Owen working with Severn, and he would be choking the guy out from behind, and he'd go, "I'm retired, damn it! Leave me alone! I'm trying to just be in Canada and enjoy my retirement, and you people gotta bother me." And he'd be choking the guy out from behind, yelling at him that he's retired as he's choking him out.
Plus, you know what? Like with Dan Severn, though, if he was around today, I don't think the physique would have been any problem.
Absolutely not.
Like the most people today.
Kevin Owens, I mean, I noticed is actually, I think, losing weight too. Mm-hmm. And I find it so bewildering, and anybody can say what they want to me. It's a little bewildering to me that the heavyweight champion or universal champion was a guy that wore a t-shirt and shorts. Like, that to me is so like, wow. And I was just talking to one of my friends that made a post about guys, he's a promoter in Minnesota, and he was talking about how guys today thinking that they don't look like wrestlers that are trying to pass themselves off as wrestlers. And he's like, you need to take care of that belly that's hanging over your pants and blah, blah, blah. So there are some promoters out there that just won't book anything that walks. Like, they want you to have the appeal to the mass audience of looking like a wrestler. And and that's what I came from. Look, me and Dean Visk breaking in, this was our whole life, the bodybuilding, working out, wrestling, doing all that stuff to get us to be at the optimum level, optimum shape for developmental. And the fucked up thing is, because of Les giving us such low confidence in ourselves, I never sent my tape to Dr. Tom Pritchard. And John Laurinaitis said that had I sent my stuff in, I would have gotten hired 2 years earlier on the spot. So that's something I deal with, like, not even joking, on a daily basis, that I should have. This just goes to a message, more messages from the Spartan Swinger to my paisans. Guys, believe in yourselves and go with your heart. Don't let anybody's negativity go ahead and make decisions for you. Stand on your own 2 feet and your own principles, as I hold this awesome Dr. Death figure I just found.
Very cool. By the way, what's your page on Facebook? How can people find you?
I'm sorry, what's my page on Facebook?
Yeah, I found it here. Maybe you don't know this, but it's facebook.com/Brian.Danovich.9. Or like I said,
9?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the URL I'm seeing. So anyway, we're just looking up Brian Danovich. And,
why did Vinny put a 9 there?
I don't know. Maybe Facebook just picked it.
Yeah, it does it automatically. It's just so they can have the proper thing to send them to your page, I think.
Okay, because I really, honestly, guys, since we worked together previously, I didn't even have my computer set up, and I was so pissed off, by the way, that, do you remember somebody was impersonating me in the chat and saying they were Brian Danovich and telling the guys to go jerk off in their cum-stained John Cena boxers to the fans? That really pissed me off, that somebody would act like they were me, talking shit to the fans. I would never say that to the fans, to be negative like that and mean. Like, that's like not me. And then the guy goes ahead and tries to get cute and says, I worked my ass off and Tough Enough. I worked my ass off when I was a fitness trainer. Like, I don't know, maybe I had mentioned on the air that I used to train people on the side at the gym. But, like, to go ahead and act like you're me and talk shit to the fans, not cool, buddy. And then anytime that I've contacted somebody, like I worked with the V Infuso, my good buddy, and Brian Zane, they both didn't believe it was the real Brian Danovich. And they go, is there any way you could prove to me that you're the real Brian Danovich? I said, here, give me your phone number. I'll cut a promo on your voicemail, and you'll know it's me. Both of them knew it was me right away.
Mm-hmm. So what was like the what made you make the Facebook? Was there like
the business, to be honest. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not going to lie and bullshit. Like, honestly, guys, I mean, I was in such a depression, and I still suffer from depression and anxiety. And I just didn't really want to connect with anybody or be out in that public eye and interact. And then all of a sudden, getting stopped on the street by people, knowing who I am and wanting a picture. And it made me realize also, too, the old saying, evolve or perish. It's like I was doing a show with Vinny on the Social Injustice Warrior channel, and I go ahead and he goes, and Dano you can't get a hold of because he's not in the 21st century. And he was kind of right. And my family wants to move, and I'm going to be moving separately too. And I have all these bins. I put a video online on the page of all my storage bins filled with action figures, magazines, autographed pictures. And it's time for it to go instead of sitting in the storage center, collecting dust. And I found out through Facebook you could sell stuff. And I'm not going to lie and say, because if I wanted to connect with people, I would have years ago. But now I've gotten a lot more receptive. And I figured, you know what? I might as well do it now. I might as well sell my stuff. And I might as well actually go ahead and talk to the fans out there that even care to talk to me and know who I am. Which I gotta be honest, I'm so surprised, and it just goes to show you the true wrestling fans out there are the greatest fans in the history of any sport or television program. They are so loyal, so passionate, so smart. There's nothing that Vince McMahon thinks that they don't remember anything, but they remember every single thing and know exactly who's who, what's who did what, when, why. If you were ever, I got the pleasure to be in WWE TV, WWE Magazine, WWE DVD and video, and it's so cool that people know who I was. And you know what? I'm saying it, just like I said on Mauro Ranallo's show. I said, and I definitely will be again. And Mauro goes, oh, okay, good luck. So I definitely, I will do something again. I mean, even if it's in NXT, I'll do something again with that company, especially after they sent me to rehab and took care of me. I would love to get to work for them again.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brian, it's been awesome to have you back, and we will have you back again, and much quicker than 10 years.
Let's do it again, man. 10 years is way too long.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'd love to co-host, with you guys one night, or if I actually would love to come on before I wrestle my next match and promote whoever I'm working with. So before we go, can I just promote some stuff?
Of course.
Well, thank you. First of all, before I promote anything, I want to thank everybody very much out there for your interest. I want to thank John, and Neil Jones for having me on. Two great guys. And Neil, I hope you don't mind I say this, but I talked to you off the air about it. The allegations being made about Neil Jones are complete bullshit, and I'm not even going to dignify this woman's name. But Neil is a stand-up guy who I've talked to with John for hours. 10 years ago, we used to talk on a regular basis before I used to, guys, remember before I used to go get my ice cream, we would talk on the phone for hours. Mm-hmm. And Neil is a good dude. He takes care of his grandmother. He goes into these conventions. He meets all you guys. You know the type of person he is. I publicly said I stand behind him on this. And I know that he never could do anything like this. The girl couldn't hack it on the show, so she goes ahead and not on it no more, and she's trying to put false allegations against him. So Neil, I want you to know, brother, I stand behind you, and I know that you couldn't sexually harass a fly.
Thank you. And like I said, because she posts pictures, but they're completely out of context, and the the whole conversations I just put up right on the Without Your Head page, so people can go and look. There's also witnesses who were in the group chat with us, and people's audio evidence, pictures, statements from other people. So it's all out there. But in all honesty, it's also really shameful of her to do this, because not only is it, could potentially hurt me, which most people don't believe it anyway, but it hurts all real victims of sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
Because people who do this, then, even me, I can't help now if I hear someone else say something. Now you have doubt, because, people can lie about it. And that's a really terrible thing to do, too, especially nowadays when all this stuff's coming out.
Yeah, with the Me Too movement and everything, with these women coming forward and actually having that platform, you're so right. Some of them are scared to step forward because of the being perceived of being a lot. And then, their whole life is under a microscope and analyzed of everything they've ever said or done. Like Philomena Shea, she throws this stuff out about Enzo. And to be honest, we didn't talk about that, but I'm just going to say, look, she has publicly videos of her talking about faking a pregnancy, lying to her boyfriend, having a mental breakdown, and lying to him about a bunch of stuff. So that just doesn't show right of her character. And just to say something on the Enzo thing, I've never met Eric or been around Eric. I honestly think what happened was a lot of wrestlers have been known for being really physical with girls. Like Dolph Ziggler was known with the comedian, the chick that's in all the movies and did one with John Cena. He would pick her up and move her around, be real aggressive. She said that she and him were doing coke and partying, and he picked her up and ripped her tights off and said, "Come on, you want this dick? I have 1 million Instagram people." So I think she, is unfortunately not very credible, but I'm not going to say anything against her. I think the woman going against you has no credibility whatsoever, has basically totally ruined her own public image, and I think it just should completely be put to bed. And to be honest, Neil, I think you should sue her for defamation of character and liability against her. What do you think of that?
That's what I've been. That's what's been suggested to me by several people.
Neil, I'm not even joking, and if I have to, dude, I will give a character witness testimony of what type of person you are, so the people can even say, look, he's got thousands of people online that support him and know the real guy, and this woman is just looking for a handout to get famous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really,
all right.
It's really bad, but thank you for bringing that up.
No problem. I wanted to say that before we run. Guys, again, thank you for tuning in. You can now go, apparently I do have a Twitter at Brian Danovich. I'm never on it, or to be honest, I don't even know how to use it. I'll figure it out. Vinny will tell me. You can go to Facebook, like you just said, search Brian Danovich. Anybody looking to book me, I have 3 promoters looking to book me so far. I'm going to be working on Grimm's Toy Show, I believe. Wrestling with Wregret, we talked about Brian Zane. Next month, WrestleMania week, the Social Injustice Warrior channel is going to be going back to doing a collab video with Brian. I might be a part of that and be a part of a future project with Brian. Guys, you can go online, check out all on YouTube the past episodes of Social Injustice Warrior, the podcast that I did with Vinny, to lead to upcoming, I'm promoting, if you don't mind, Kenny Thiessen. He called in tonight. He will be our guest next week on SIJW Live. Go to the Social Injustice Warrior channel with V Infuso. He usually puts videos up each day, and we do a live podcast every week. Kenny Thiessen, like I said, next. Then we're going to have Iwitz Dalton, the Intercontinental Champ from Grimm's Toy Show. And then on the 16th, Bin Hameen, a guy that does the indies and does his own podcast, The Conspiracy Horseman, with Steven Richards. So you can go to YouTube, check out my media appearances. I did working with Muscle Sport Magazine TV. I might be working with them in the future, with Joe Pietaro. Yeah, like I said, my business, Carlucci's Collectibles at Brian Danovich. Go to that. Your wrestling figure needs, autographs, old magazines. And guys, I'm out of breath. Thank you. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Very cool. And we're over almost 2 hours and 40 minutes here, so I think it's a good time.
Yeah, I didn't break my record. I was looking to go for 257, but I think, honestly, this is good. You don't want to put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. So did I answer all the questions, John or Incher?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everything
did?
has been touched on.
And no more callers, so that's it. Let's put the baby to bed. Guys, again, thank you so much for having me. Let's do a part 2 when I get back in the ring.
Very good. All right, we'll be back. Thank you for doing this, Brian. It's good to talk to you again.
Same here, my paisan. Pleasure's all mine. And guys, if you go to my Facebook tonight, I will put up the clip, one of the scenes from the movie I'm in, Kitty City. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you all next Swinger week. Next Swinger time, baby. Next week, go to the Social Injustice Warrior Live channel with me and The Infuso. Oh!
Very cool.
Excellent.
Awesome.
This is Dean, the Corvette. Listen to In Your Head Wrestling.